Okay, we will open this meeting of Thursday, March 8th, 2012. Let the records show that all selectmen are present.
It is important.
Time being 4:35. Our first appointment is here and waiting. Fire Chief Brad Ober.
It says that in a number of places.
We are going to discuss appointments, correct?
Yes, forest fire warden and deputy warden.
Okay.
It's an annual event, and we are reorganizing a little bit. In the past, Deputy Robinson has been the warden for Tilton, and she's very the warden for North. We're reorganizing a little bit. I'm actually suggesting that I'm the warden for both communities, and then all the officers under everybody else becomes a deputy warden. There's either a warden or deputy warden. And then issuing agent. An issuing agent can only issue permits. Wardens and deputies can issue permits and issue warnings and citations and that sort of thing. Shoot a letter from violation of the permit. So a little bit of change there would be basically just renaming the warden and removing Mike back to the deputy. And then the other document is the reappointment of everybody else that's been in place. So there's spots that the selectmen have to sign off on that sheet and then on the back sheet. We're also removing a few employees that are no longer with us. One of them is Steve Carey, obviously. We should have done it a year ago, but things get up. And then a few others that are no longer with us.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we appoint as Forest Fire Warden Brad Ober.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I will make a motion that we appoint as, well, this one still has Brad under Warden. This one still has Steve on it, this paper.
Over on the right-hand column, there'll be reinstated. There's a note over here.
Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, I have to look at that.
You have to make a motion on every single one as you go. This essentially, this form here, when you sign up on this form, Mike Robinson,
Okay.
and then automatically puts him in.
So we're moving to 3 names as issuing agents. 1 is a deputy and 2 is issuing. 3 is issuing, okay.
See this sentence?
Those are the reappointments, and if we have new issuing agents, actually, the warden can actually approve those without having to get your own.
Unless it's been discontinued. And if it's already been discontinued, we shouldn't be.
The way we have it set up is myself would be the warden. All of the call officer and career officer.
This is what the Class 6
And
highway
then
is.
the rest of the career staff will be just issuing agents along with Kathy.
That's what I just showed you.
What that
Okay.
says. It's not what that says.
The people who get access to getting permits.
Oh, highways which have not been maintained. I know what that says.
Sometimes you're issuing fines.
Paragraph 3A. Doesn't have the 3A. No, it doesn't.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Timothy Ames, Thomas Bowyer, Robert Bouquet, David Hall, Michael Robinson as deputy wardens.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we appoint, actually, we have to amend that, correct? Because Robert is not one.
Read this. That's where I get.
So I'll amend that motion and take out Robert Bouquet.
Second?
Yes, Bouquet, okay. All those in favor of the amended?
Aye.
Aye. So I make a motion that we appoint as issuing agents Matthew Gilman, Fred Green, Tim Joubert, Ian McCaldy, Greg Michaud, Jonathan Powell, Stephen Smith, Catherine Tobine, and Sean Ballavine. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I almost said that.
Sandy?
Yeah, but if we are maintaining the road, class 5 road, because otherwise we discontinued it.
This is confusing.
This says that the only ones that are class 6 highways, all right, are the ones that have been discontinued and subject to gates and bars, which that isn't the
You
case.
could fill the date in.
And all highways which have been maintained and repaired by the town are configured for travel for 5 years or more.
Oh, just in time, we got our annual report.
That means that they qualify.
Anything earth-shattering we should know? Is it more money?
Been made subject to gates and bars.
They gone.
They did receive both grants, right? They were awarded both grants that they were receiving.
It just says to be traveled.
They got both grants, one of them was for and the other was
Yeah. And they got both of them? Nice. When does that happen?
It's in the works right now. The CAT system, they're planning on being online January 1st, 2013.
Yeah.
So there'll be a lot of prep before that, but they're going to flip the switch so it's January 1st. And the simulcast system, they're hoping to be up and running by early fall. So they'll be designing it, they're in the design phase now, installing throughout the summer, and hopefully 100% by fall. At the same time, they're going to be in compliance with the narrowband compliance that that was just over $650,000, I
Wow, that's neat. So it's actually, the budget's decreasing from the total year.
Yeah, the budget was down from,
Good. That's wonderful.
the only other thing I had, I figured I would bring some stats over for you if you wanted to.
They gonna scare us?
No.
I'm scared already.
I keep hearing we're...
Is this in the town report, chief, or is this a different? No, this is different.
The first 3 pages is actually just the first 2 months' activity.
I see.
The rest of it is in the town report. It's just a copy of the stats for 2011. But the first 2 pages, if you look at, this is one of the reports that we can generate in...
Rail vehicle fire?
Yeah, at the, well, that's what it was toned as. It's not that, we didn't actually have a fire in the rail vehicle. What it does is it breaks it down into categories, and these are the categories that we report into first into the fire marshal's office, and then from there goes into the National Fire Incident Reporting System. So, for example, if you look under number 1, category 1 is anything related to fire. So as we go out through the year, this will summarize any fire activity that we've had, and then obviously down to each different category. So these categories will, expand as our activity expands throughout the year. So that's just a look at the first 2 months and a summary and a breakdown of the estimated dollar loss on property. If you look, whenever I show this report to somebody, if you look under the second summary, which is actually labeled number 3, Rescue and Emergency Medical Services, and if you follow across the motor vehicle accident with injuries, The dollar loss there is property, not personal injury. So we don't estimate personal injury, we estimate vehicle damage. So just wanted to be clear, because some people ask that. Really?
Good intent calls?
A good intent call is, for example, if your neighbor's burning brush and you're like, oh my God, I think my neighbor's house is on fire, and we get there and it's actually burning brush and
Okay.
it gets labeled as, it was a good intent call. You really thought there was a problem there, but there really wasn't when you got there. So that would be a type of a good intent call.
Okay.
Should be under nosy, but...
Another, well, a lot of it is just that. Some of it is, that if it's an automatic aid, for example, if they actually get there and it's not what they thought it was, so we can get there.
Do these incidents include when you respond out of town to mutual aid?
Yeah, it will.
So these are not just district?
No, this particular report shows all activity. There are other reports that we can run that separates out mutual aid, from our own. But this is a capture of everything that's been going on.
Could you generate a report that would cover this time, just so we can get an idea of what your mutual aids are? Or is that an average? Is that a fair average? Would you have to go 6 months?
No. We can generate reports next. If you're looking at
I mean, for
what the
someone,
average is, you're probably not going to look at just 2 months worth.
that's what I'm saying, so what would you predict, 6 months or?
Well, for
12
example,
months.
if you look at almost the last page, just an incident by town summary for 2011.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where we went to each one of those towns that amount of time. So anything other than Tilton and Northfield would come under that mutual aid.
In 2011, 1,523?
That was our total amount of calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the year?
Yeah. And then you look across 2010, 2009.
That's down from 2010.
2010 was a particularly busy year for us.
Wasn't that also a really dry year? Probably a fire year.
I don't remember what the weather was. I'm not sure.
Well, it's obvious you don't grow any moss in your tires.
No. But if you do
So-
look across it, it does kind of average out if you were to look across the 4 years.
Yeah.
It's interesting that only, well, no, Northfield, you have to include Northfield. I forget. Never mind what I was going to say. I know.
The last page, titled EMS runs by response disposition.
That's not 2/3.
That is a count of how many patient contacts we had. So we actually had 1,050 patient contacts. So for example, if we go to one of these, there's 4 people in the car,
Right.
that's 4 different
Contacts.
that be generated. If you look down that chart, about halfway it says treated at ALS, transported by EMS, 526, or about 50%. So about 50% of our patients require advanced life support treatment, which is a pretty significant amount. That includes anything from IV administration to drug administration and all that. So, you look at it that way and you think, oh, geez, it's just another ambulance call they're wasting. Well, 50% of our people actually need definitive care.
Right.
I think that's a pretty significant thing.
Right, it is.
Is that because of the highway?
No, I don't think so.
Route 3?
It's probably...
Or just in general?
It's probably, honestly, is more on the medical side than it would be on the trauma side. But then if you look at the next level down, treated at BLS, which is basic life support, it drops down to that 20%. So those are the injuries that are not life-threatening, so to speak. They do definitely need hospitalization, but it's not as an urgent. On the second page is just a graph. And that actually shows you the activity by day of the week.
Oh,
What's up with Tuesday?
I don't know.
Wednesday's close
I
behind.
would
home
have
on
guessed
Tuesdays.
Friday night, Sunday night, leaving town.
Yeah, that would have been Saturday night, definitely.
A busy day, our busiest day.
You would think it would be on the weekend when people are out working in the yard, doing things with chainsaws and stuff like that.
Table
But wait a minute,
Saws.
this is,
Did you do
this
that?
is between the first of this year and today, or the end of February, so that's just for the first 2 months of this year.
Right, but still,
They're not going out and doing barbecues and stuff like that so much
Days,
yet.
it looks like.
Weekends
must
will
be a
pick up.
skiing special event stock on Tuesday.
Yeah, that could be.
We did look at graphs for 2011, this particular, and it didn't really change a whole lot, for the whole year, so.
Interesting.
It's interesting stuff that when you start trending things, and you see where things are going on, so. Just another way of looking at what's happening.
What is an overpressure rupture explosion overheat? Is that just pipes bursting?
It could be a pipe burst,
Boiler.
boiler, any pressurized vessel that's not supposed to
Supposed to be.
blow up.
The propane tanks and all of that would all of that stuff would come into this. Okay, so it's not just heat.
Right.
70 hazardous conditions. What
How do
type
you-
of hazard is that? Chemical or?
Various.
Electrical hazard,
It's not
anything that's not really that's on fire,
I see.
that has, something that needs some corrective action to make it safe.
Would that include accident scenes?
No.
Gasoline spills or-
Come under section 3 there, motor vehicle accident, either within or without.
Okay.
Is that a high percentage of false alarm and false calls?
I don't think so. It seems to be pretty average. We do have an ordinance in place that we can levy a finance charge to property owners that they don't maintain lawns, and if we get multiple lines, it's just because of poor maintenance or
Oh,
mistakes. And, after the first, second warning, they get 3 shots, and then the fourth shot, sorry, they play well in the sandbox, but after that first or second, they get their system in place. Our false alarms and false calls used to be a lot higher than that.
They're required now, right, for all households, alarms are required now, or no?
Smoke alarms.
Smoke alarms, but not carbon monoxide?
It includes carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is only about a year requirement now. Hardwired smokes have been required since '86, I think,
is that new construction?
and new construction. Or if your house is prior to '86, and it's got a certain amount of rehabilitation done to it, like if you completely renovate,
Right.
then you have to bring it up.
My house was prior to 1886, so how does that fit in?
Mine's in the 17.
There you go.
So you don't, in that case, you would just use your fire detected, your smoke detectors, and that would, they don't necessarily have to be hardwired. So,
Well, they would have to be hardwired smoke detectors.
they do.
Currently?
No, in an older house.
If you
Your grandfather.
if you rehabilitate a house.
Yeah, but if you don't,
If you don't, then
there's no requirement.
It's non-conforming.
there's no enforcement.
Is there a guide out there that would tell you how to properly install carbon monoxide detectors in your home? I mean, a smoke detector,
It's the same.
I think you can kind of
It's
gauge.
pretty
but
easy. I got
Is
one.
the carbon monoxide the same
Yeah.
as smoke?
Yeah.
Well, carbon monoxide actually doesn't act as smoke, where smoke will rise first in the ceiling. Carbon monoxide pretty much is everywhere. So they have a couple different devices. They have outlet, carbon monoxide.
That's one I got.
Yeah.
Or you can do the traditional ceiling mount, battery operated or powered by your electrical system.
It sounds like a combination of both would be ideal.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, we're in rental facilities where carbon monoxide is now required. What we're recommending is the devices outside of our sleeping area is just put in a combination
Oh, they have
They
combination.
make combination ones? I'll have to look for that. That'd be a good idea.
So right outside the home where you're renting, so outside their bedrooms?
Yeah, that's where the COs are required to be in rentals. And honestly, that's a good place to put them.
It sounds like a good
Upstairs and
place.
down? Interesting.
They have them now, and then we put them in the house to where all the doors are battery powered,
Yeah.
because we've never renovated the ceilings.
Right.
They talk to each other, so if one rings, they all ring.
Yeah,
Just to get
connected
you
by
out
a
of the
radio
house, yeah,
frequency,
yeah.
Amazing, huh, Catherine?
Which allows, in some applications, for example, if it's a rental property, it will allow them to be compliant with the code without doing a lot of extra work. The code would only allow the base unit to be powered by the electrical system, and then all the other ones will connect by radio frequency, so they're all interconnected. But because that base control unit is powered by the electrical system, it's in compliance.
What happens if the electrical goes out?
Well, they all have battery backup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Anything else for us?
Right into your space.
You can be in my
2 days,
space.
actually.
No problem.
Oh,
And
where
fours.
did they go?
By the way, I did the math on
Where is it?
Tilton to Northfield calls, and we came in at 61.7%.
Where are the papers that Brad
Oh,
gave you?
there's one here.
Joe, sign you, just sign you.
Actually, I've moved it on already.
Shouldn't we have copies of these in the office here?
Joyce, do you need copies of the firewood and papers? Yes, we do. All right, Brad will get you copies.
Any other questions?
No?
No. Just know that you have our support, by the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Very appreciated.
You can't lose this.
Proceed, do you notice this section here, Catherine? The underline.
Okay, next on our agenda is Jim Cropsey and abutters for the
Siding house, 229.
property off of 132. Oh, Jim's not here.
They're existing public.
Okay, all right.
If it's discontinued, how can it be a public way?
Yeah, well, because just being subject to gates and bars does not close it to travel, just absorbs us the maintenance.
If it's subject to gates and bars, then we no longer maintain it.
That's right, it's a maintenance.
So,
And if we maintain it, it's the right.
I'm gonna get a coat.
I'll get one, I gotta get myself one anyway.
We're gonna throw that out.
Maintenance.
this one.
You can argue with them, but they're wrong.
It remains a public highway. Class 6 highway remains a public highway. No? Look at the definition of a highway.
What do you mean it doesn't remain a highway? Highway is defined.
All right, we'll go on and wait for them to come up. Under the next agenda item is Matt Gallant, and I think we've got enough information where I just told Tom we would call if we had questions, but we did talk with him, and you've since gone in and seen the information, the PD,
Yeah.
and to what it is. This is pertaining to a change order specifically that will add the heat to the basement. There's three parts to this. One is that we'll add heat to the locker room area and to the evidence room in the hallway downstairs, which we were remiss in overlooking, we were remiss in putting it in way back when we were doing the work to begin with. We have an estimate for that to be done. Also, at the same time, he was asked by the chief to do the garage. It was agreed by the selectmen the other day that we would not entertain the having the work done in the garage at this time because of the cost, perhaps maybe at a later time. The third item was material in labor to install the infamous toilet, and that was $1,800. The reason for that is that the original toilet that was going to be purchased was all-encompasses of all the parts, just needed to be installed by a plumber. This one comes with just the toilet. You have to purchase parts and assemble them and put them together. So this is not what the subcontractor is getting. This is actually what we have to get for parts, and the subcontractor is getting $300. Am I correct, Joyce, in that? And the plumber is getting $330. The rest is parts, correct? So the question now lies that, number one, is they have the walls downstairs ready that we can put the heat in very simply instead of having them finished in the sheetrock. The mudding on the sheetrock is done.
Is that the original that we had the other day? Or have they more itemized it? That's what we had the other day.
Where do we get the money to do this?
Well, that's the question. Do we put something off on our own list in order to afford this now, because now's the time to do it while the walls are not being mudded and so on, and then in the fall, see if we underspend the budget, we can take from that and do our own project that we had planned? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is on that.
That sounds like the way to go, because it's got to be more expensive to cut holes in the wall once they're up.
Right.
And you got to have all the guys come back, and they're already on site. So there has to be an extra expense. It's not going to be cheaper to do it in the fall.
Right.
Am I understanding that Mechalant's not going to be here?
Yes.
See, this says, installation of heat at this time in the new areas created in the basement renovations, such as the locker room. Okay. When I was down there, and I'm sorry I didn't write it around, there was the locker room, the new evidence room, and there's a detective evidence processing room that also is going to get heat.
The detective evidence processing room is the place that the heat's going into. Am I correct? Not the evidence room.
No, both of them.
No.
No.
Yeah, I actually, we met about that today, because I knew it was on the agenda, and the evidence tech said the evidence room actually would be better at the temperature it's typically at without it, so he suggested we don't put heat in that evidence room, but they do need it in the evidence office room.
Right.
Well, I would like to see, an itemized list from Upcountry Builders, what exactly is going to get heat. I thought they were going to be here tonight, because that was one of my questions, because this is vague, such as the locker room.
Joyce,
So
did
what
you get that
exactly
answer?
does that $4,025 cover?
When I saw Tom Gallant yesterday, he said that he had spoken with you and that everything was good, and
I'll speak
that
with you.
if you had any questions, to just call him.
Call them up, ask them.
Because the other thing is you have to look to the future. This building, theoretically, studies have shown, is not really adequate to house our police department, right? So we have to consider, if we ever do build a police station or life safety or whatever, and move out of it, this is the time to adequately heat the spaces down there, rather than say, oh, well, this is an unheated room that you really can't do anything to unless you put heat in it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a consideration, but the fact that it's cold down there for them changing is a good reason to put heat in it.
Right, but what I'm saying is, why eliminate one room? If the police department doesn't want heat in the evidence room, then shut off the radiator. But at least have the heat in there for resale value. And you can shut off a radiator, but at least we've done the work now when we don't have mudded and painted sheetrock and the ceiling, they can run it through.
Right.
So, yeah, I thought they were going to be here tonight. I apologize. If I'd known, I would have called them myself, but that's a little vague. What specifically does...
I can get Matt to come over.
In their estimate, this 4,000, it's important to know what exactly.
We can either call them on the phone and get them
Okay.
on speaker, which is no problem. I can get Tom on speaker, however, he is at the hospital. Becky was operated on this morning, so I'd be more than happy
Matt may know those answers.
to call Matt.
Well, actually, sounds like you're coming upstairs.
Sounds like Mr. Cropsey's making it into his meeting.
So Chief, what are the rooms that are downstairs? There's the locker room,
The locker room
the evidence room, the detective evidence processing room, which is that little room.
within the evidence room.
The meeting room we have down there now is heated.
Right. So it'd just be the,
And the bathrooms are heated and the hallway is heated.
yes,
So it'd just be,
Beyond that.
the women's locker room.
Right,
2 locker rooms,
right,
and he said he would do a short one in the hallway,
right.
and then a short one in that evidence process,
Right.
detectives' evidence processing. They actually do different things in there. It's,
Right, so there's a short one going into the evidence room, there's a short one going into the hallway. Most of the heat's going into the 2 locker rooms and the evidence processing area.
So I have a total of 5 locations for radiators. Women's locker room, men's locker room, the evidence room, the detective evidence processing room, and the hallway.
Always already got one.
There's a section of hallway that doesn't, right?
That's correct.
Oh,
The hallway,
Back.
we're talking about the hallway in the back. Once you go through the
uniforms
door,
hang or whatever?
where the uniforms
Yeah, yeah.
hang, once you go through that door, there's no heat on that end of the building. So there's the hallway where the gear bag is being where the door is,
Yeah. And
where the
that's
gear bags are
unheated.
being stored, there, where the evidence, the new evidence room is, the 2 locker rooms, and then the evidence processing area within the evidence room. Those are the rooms that need the heat.
So we've got
Go ahead,
5,
Chief.
right?
Yep.
I was there when the plumber measured, and he said he calculates the length of the baseboard by the square feet of each room. I know it doesn't give you a breakdown, but that's how he came up with probably the linear feet
Those are
of
them.
baseboard.
Just ask him if that's, all 5 are included in that estimate.
Hey, Matt, it's Pat Constantino. We're at the Selectmen's meeting. I was wondering if I could put you on speaker and ask you a couple of questions on the heating that's going in the basement at the PD. Okay, you okay with that? Okay. Well, we'll try it for a minute. We got just a quick question of how many's going in. Hold on. Okay, Matt, so, can you tell us how many heating units are going in? We have the locker room, the men's locker room, the women's locker room, the new evidence room, the detective evidence processing room, and then the hallway.
Correct.
So those are 5 locations?
Yep.
And that's what is for the the change order for the $4,025?
Yes.
Okay.
So Matt, could you don't have to do it right now, but could you issue a new change order that where number 1, instead of saying such as the locker room, that you specifically list the 5 locations?
Yes.
Can we get it so that it's itemized, like one unit will be in the hallway, how many units in the locker room and whatever, make it more itemized? Would that be possible?
Yeah, I guess we can do that, yep.
Okay. Okay, we're trying to make a decision here. All right? Any more questions for Matt?
No, that's fine.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. The issue is that the men are working up there, and they have the walls ready to go to put the heat in. Joyce, is this your copy?
I can always get another one, you can keep that.
You want this?
No, if he's, as long as we have that, we'll keep this, and
All right.
he issues us a new invoice that itemizes, I'm fine.
That's just item number 1.
Right.
The other item.
The item number 2, we have item number 2 we're not dealing with. We've already put that on hold. We put that table, the garage, we're not putting heat in the garage, period. Number 3, we have to find the money somewhere to install that toilet.
Well, I would take it out of the police department budget now. That's where it's going to. That's a true showing of cost. This
Yes.
expense was expended out of there, and when we get into the fall, we may or may not have to look for monies to put in there.
Okay?
That's good.
All right. Do you need a motion to that effect?
That way I can call Matt and Tom tomorrow and tell them exactly what you're waiting for a more itemized change order, a detail for item number 1. Number 2 is on hold, no action to be taken, and the toilet is clear to go ahead with the toilet.
Are we waiting on, do you want to hold up the project to get the itemized amount of heating units?
No, I think we verbally, for me personally, we verbally all heard what he said, and as long as all 5 of those items are included, I'm good to go. When he generates that, there should be, technically, there shouldn't be any work take place until we sign it. But if we make a motion here tonight to agree to it,
We just want to
we
clear
definitely
it.
should sign it as soon as it comes in.
Right, that for him to know what to expect, we had a motion, he can go forward.
Exactly.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the change order for the installation of heat and radiation to the new areas created in the basement renovations, such as the locker room, the evidence room, the evidence processing room in the hallway, for $4,025. Also included in this motion would be the material and labor to install the toilet provided by the PD, which is proposed cost of $1,800.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Further discussion? Vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. This is to come out of the PD budget, and then such time in the fall, we'll figure out where to move monies. All right?
I'll track down a revised change order tomorrow so that you'll have it to sign.
Okay.
I should text him so he doesn't, text Tom so he doesn't worry that we
Yeah,
need,
let him know.
we need Matt, so I'll step away, but
Pardon me.
Okay. Jim, you all set?
Yes.
Okay, come on up. No, come on up. Roberta and Chris, do you want to come up too, or you want to just speak from there, or however you want to do it? So Jim had called me the other night on Articles 8 and 9, and I've asked him to come and express his concerns and with the entire board, and we allotted him this time to come on and speak to us.
Thank you.
So,
It's a beautiful day.
it is, gorgeous day.
And this time, I'd like to just speak to Article 9.
Okay.
I don't have a great familiarity with Article 8, but I am more than familiar with Article 9. And if I may, I'd like to mention first off that Roberta and I voted for each and every one of you, not your competition, but you in particular. And I initially put down just that I'd voted for you, but then when I talked to Roberta about it, we found out that we'd all voted for the same people when the elections came up. And I did bring down, because the last time this had occurred, there was some confusion over Stocks Road and Range Road. And I brought a map along, and I've highlighted in yellow. This is a readily available map, and I'm hoping that Pat will pass it around. It's a state and county map, and that I've marked in yellow where the old Range Road runs. And if you'll note, Stocks Road is named as Stocks Road and is north of that Range Road. So it may be a Range Road, but not the road in town that is affectionately known as the Range. That was interesting. The other interesting thing is that when it goes around, you'll note that Pest House Road is not on that map.
Right.
No, they don't show it.
No, they don't show
What
it.
year was that map?
This map is, it's currently available, but it's been readily available since 1990. Readily available. That's the latest upgrade. I don't think it's been upgraded for any washouts that may have occurred with this spring flooding, because I noticed that in trying to use that same map, you really have needed a four-wheel drive vehicle to go through, I think it was parts of New Durham on that. And I was down there once using the same map system and ran into those issues. And you may have this if you'd like it.
Okay, thank you.
And other than that issue, we'd like to go to the cost of maintaining the road, that it's not a burden to the Tilton taxpayers. We pay $4,424 annually for taxes. And the road, according to Dennis Allen, this section of road is $2,200 per year in annual maintenance costs, and I doubt that it was even $2,200 this last winter. I would think that it was substantially less. In addition to the taxes, with the town's approval, we personally paid $4,900 for the repair and maintenance at the top and at the bottom of this road so that it would not wash out, and personally negotiated that with Dennis Allen and the state of New Hampshire, which did not want to cooperate one iota with the initial change of what their engineers had designed, which was putting 6 inches of water in our basement.
This is at the end of the end on the 132 end or towards your house end?
Sanborn Road?
132. The
Okay.
Water from 132,
When they repaved it?
before they repaved it,
Okay.
and before we put the diverter at the top, would run right down that road, washing it out periodically, and that water would run right into our basement. And until it drained off, we had 6 inches of water in the basement. So we've done all of that out of our own costs because we could not get either Tilton or the state to cooperate. And I personally constructed rain bars and the drainage ditches on that road myself. I started with Dave Wadley, and Dave Wadley was initially not too happy with the concept that I might be digging these trenches in his road, but he allowed me to try it, and they worked. So the practice has continued. The Abbotts pay $2,000 in taxes annually on a 9-acre parcel that is accessed by this same road. That's its primary access. And therefore, they also financially contribute to its maintenance.
Now, where is the access that the Abbotts use on the road?
They have...
It's just a short way in.
Oh,
So-
that's the wrong, that's Pest House. And my map is not enough detail to show you.
That's it.
Their access is off here, about 300 feet in, would you say? That's, oh, Roger, glad to see you. That access that you punched through the stone, is that about 200 feet down? Approximately.
300 feet?
Here's
300 feet down.
an area. That
Yeah,
might help you.
it's down in here, I'd say it's just before that first steep drop. Yeah, about 100 feet before that.
I was down there yesterday. Okay.
Over the snow now, Roger, they're building a replacement barn at some point in time in the future. And you're looking for barn raisings, I remember. That's right. Yeah. So any help we can come up with for barn raising. And what I wanted to get to is that this will reduce the tax rolls on both of these properties to have this road discontinued. It's quite likely that our $4,424 would be reduced to $3,000 because of the additional maintenance costs that would go along with that. Plus, Rogers piece will not have the road frontage that it once had, and that would also be reduced in the assessment cost. So the town will be receiving less money once this discontinuance occurs. Eliminating the maintenance, as I've mentioned, this discontinuance would save the town $2,200. But our costs, I have estimates of maintaining that road of $10,400 a year to sand it, plow it, etc. Our costs are higher because we don't have the manpower at our on the budget already. I'm sure you can appreciate that private contractors are also going to have profit fixed on top of this, which the town does not profit from the plowing of its roads. And the marginal cost of plowing another 900 feet is less for a town with all the roads that we plow versus what a contractor might plow. Owners have a statutory relief, if you're not aware of it, under RSA 231 and sections through RSA 238. Owners will receive part of that as cost of perpetual maintenance reimbursed to them, and the loss of property value for the discontinuance.
Where specifically are you reading that?
That's in RSA 231.
I have that in my hand. Are you looking at 231:3, paragraph 2?
I'm not familiar with it exactly, but it would concern the discontinuance of highways.
Because the section you talked about is the laying out of highways, and that road is prescriptive, it was never laid out.
It's immaterial because it has to do with the discontinuance of highways.
This chapter has to do with the laying out of highways.
The section still has to deal with the discontinuance.
Further on in here, it does say about discontinuing.
And this affects the us as well as the Abbotts. And there are two other owners of interior lots on that road. They're served by that road that will be negatively impacted. A perpetual maintenance fund that we would be due might be as much as $1 million, because right now, if we're looking at our $10,000 per year maintenance costs, we can earn 1% on our interest. 1% equals $1 million.
Can we go back to the RSA 231? Because you're incorrect.
I may be incorrect, but that's going to be subject to the potential lawsuit that we'll be having.
Well, I think the other selectmen here need to know that what you're saying does not pertain to this road.
Then that's up to distributors.
Well, then let me read it into the record, please. Because you're talking to 231 colon, say the RSAs you're talking.
It's 231 through 238. That whole section is cited by the attorneys.
Okay, but the only section that talks about the municipality's duties of maintenance is 231 colon 3.
Which is the discontinuance.
It says, if a city or town accepts from the state a Class 5 highway, a Class 5 highway established to provide a property owner or property owners with highway access to such property because of a taking.
You have not accepted by the state. It was by agreement with the town of Samberton 200 years ago. When Tilton absorbed Samberton.
Right, so this road does not qualify for this. Well, it's very specific, and
I may just
as I said, I wanted to read it into the record. So let me finish reading it into the record, please. Then notwithstanding RSA 229:5, Section 7, such a highway shall not lapse to Class 6 status due to failure of the city or town to maintain and repair it for 5 successive years, and the municipality's duty of maintenance shall not terminate, except with the written consent of the property owner or property owners. And again, that's if a city or town accepts from the state a Class 5 highway. Go ahead.
So you're saying you don't need our permission to discontinue?
The road was not accepted from the state.
No, it was taken from Samberton.
It's a deeded road, though.
So
It was not accepted from the state, and if you read the whole
That's what I'm saying,
chapter,
that only
you'll
pertains-
understand that more.
You're citing something that still only pertains to state highways. And this is not a state highway. You did not accept it from the state. It's deeded from Samberton.
We'll have to bring them back. We'll have to get them the copy of what we got. Because we got it from attorneys.
Well, this is the entire chapter of 231.
All right, it's something,
Advising you of the legal costs that will be incurred when you're forced to sue the town, because at this point in time, we will be forced to do so. And in the past, we've always been able to work out our disagreements. Have we not?
Yes.
Very good. That's what I'm here to work out these disagreements and to prevent further problems. Reduction in property values also includes the loss of at least 8 building lots, which equals approximately $800,000. Although a good portion of our land is in current use, Rogers and Chris's is not. And it is the value, it is only reduced by the 10% in the event of the condemnation of this property while it's under current use, because this is a taking. It may be possible for us to sue town officials personally in a separate action or actions. One issue of great concern is the ability of emergency services to reach our home. The town will be liable for damages if fire trucks, ambulances, or police are not able to reach our house in a timely fashion. This would also apply to any buildings that the Abbotts construct on their lot. If successful, this will be the first time in New Hampshire that a primary residence has had the only road servicing it discontinued. And you may disagree, but I've been advised that we cannot lose this lawsuit because it's allowed statutorily. If you're successful, if the town is successful in this, because it remains to be determined whether or not you individually are behind for it or against it, if you're successful, will the next roads to be discontinued in town have 2 houses or 3 on them? When does it stop? We respectively urge, I'm missing Pat.
She's over there listening.
Okay, I was hoping so. We respectfully urge the select board to recommend voting against Article 9 at the town meeting because it is a very expensive change that will increase the town's costs and liability rather than save money. And that's it. Unless you have some questions, I will endeavor to answer what I have.
I understand you have every right to seek redress through filing suit, and may well have a case. According to 231, which is actually much more than what you have there, Catherine. Those are only individual pages, and there's a lot of stuff in 231.
No, I have fall of 231. You have the case law.
This is 231,
Right, but you also have case law.
which explains what makes that for real, that's all.
Right, but these
Okay,
are all the
then.
RSA's in 231.
You may well have a suit. However, I wish we'd have had this conversation prior to the warrant being put up.
We needed to be contacted.
There's an abutter thing, and I assume that you were notified. Apparently not before the warrant was printed.
No, and I specifically asked Catherine 8 years ago, and she had promised me that the town would never bring this up again without first contacting us and asking us before the select board.
Well, I don't...
And I have to tell you, I didn't know it was going to be part of the warrant until I saw it in the warrant.
Then who put it on?
Who put it on?
I didn't put it.
Joyce, put it on.
Dennis asked that it be put on.
Who did?
Dennis?
And Dennis is not here to answer what his reasoning is.
Well, there we go, right back to what the point I was trying to make. At this point, I'm personally not in favor. But that, neither here nor there, because the town's going to have the opportunity to vote on it. We can't take it off the warrant.
I understand that, but the selectmen have an opportunity to either to do the research and look further into this and and realize that others may be affected, and that the next time Dennis asks for a road discontinuance, it's going to have 2 houses on it. Or 3.
Well, this isn't about next time. This is about right here and right now.
I understand that. but
And
there's a
I already said how I felt about it. I've done a bunch of research, and I think we can legally. I don't know if that's a very good idea.
I agree with you. You can legally, but there's consequences that are allowed as of statute, et cetera, which we just as soon not get involved with.
I think that when you brought this up to me and talked with me, and I asked you to come here to voice your concerns so everybody could hear it, I went out there and took a look at it, and I've studied 231 and on up to 238. I find that most of your information that you're presenting to here with us tonight is accurate. However, I did do some preliminary work on the justification on reimbursement portion of it, and I find that your information is a little bit inaccurate. But that's neither here nor there right now, because what we can do as a board and what we can do as a town as far as discontinuing highways, it's all spelled out very, very clearly in what we can do and what we can't do. And, you know, it is done in a proper manner. I would have liked to have seen the abutters got noticed as we have seen it all seen it written up here that abutters should have gotten a notice so that we could have everybody on the same page. Having said that I would like to see that the town moves forward in one direction based on the accuracy of why they would want it to be tabled or not, or voted down or whatever, based on that information, not the information that it's going to be subject to $1 million, because that really is not accurate information, Jim. So going forward to town meeting, the reasons that you state are very clear. They're very clear and precise, that you have a road there and you have access. Mr. Abbott has access. It's very clear to me that there are access going up here. The costs are real. It's clouded by the threat of a lawsuit and the amount of money that you put onto that as a prepayment for closing the highway, as maintaining it.
As far as the condemnation is concerned, those would all be, this is essentially a condemnation of a use. All of these would be available by common law, if not by statute then. It's somewhat immaterial. What is material is that you as a board should review this to the full extent of what you need to review. And if you can, I would urge you to have a vote and determine whether or not you would recommend it or not recommend it to the people. The people are going to decide it one way or the other.
Right.
But if there's a concern that the town could be substantially in the red because of this, I wouldn't want the town to do it, because I am a resident. I've tried to be as penurious as possible with the maintenance of this road myself. I can't speak to the issue with Pest House and what maintenance issues occur on that road, or any other issues to this, other than this is not the range road, and there may be some issues involved with that. So if you would, I would ask you to vote on this and make a determination, if you can, to recommend that the town vote against this. That's all I'm asking.
There is one, just before I forget, there is one point that you made that does concern me, that I didn't hear, and I don't think it was brought up the last time that this was put on the warrant. I didn't put it on that time either. I'm sorry. And that is the loss, the devaluation of your property, because you would not be able to in the future subdivide it into house lots. And that's correct, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
If he does not have the frontage on a town road, that minimizes your ability to subdivide into house lots.
The only way he could do it would be to put in a Class 5 road himself.
And bring it up to code, which is another expense.
And
Now,
have us accept it.
So that would
Have you accepted
classify as a
all of which
devalue.
is our expense, but something that we could then
Right.
Well, that's what I say.
have a disagreement on in the courts.
It doesn't have a fee schedule in 231 about what your damages might be. That would be determined by a judge, certainly. So any figures that would be
it's a town road,
thrown out here are nothing but guesswork,
it's a four.
really.
isn't it?
Like I say, I don't know as I am
I'd have to read it.
in favor of
But what I'm
this
saying
as a guy. I figure that when you move to a location on what you truly believe to be a town road,
5 or better.
to have it pulled out from under you 15, 20 years, 12 years, I don't know how long, that, I would, as a guy, and that happens to me, I wouldn't think it was right. So I have a hard time thinking it's right here.
So at one time, this road was meant to be, or was, right through where your driveway is on up to exit out of school, onto School Street.
I can show you.
But now there's a fence.
If you'd like to walk. If you'd like
I
to walk.
don't, no, I
No, I- no,
don't
thank you.
believe so, because that's what Range Road was. This road, wasn't there another house beyond you
Yes.
years ago?
There were
One or
actually
two?
4 houses before us.
Right, there
So-
were more houses on that road,
There were
but
more
Gulf
houses
Brook
before that.
is behind you. And this road never continued on.
did.
This road...
Yes, it did.
It went across Gulf?
Show you exactly the trace of that road as it went up. It went to a ford.
And it did go across
It went
Gulf.
across and it goes up the other side. I can show you that. And it comes out,
Well, I know on Runnels it shows
So
there's a
why-
connection.
and it's on a deed in School Street that it comes out on School Street.
If this is a
Part
road,
of the so-called range road?
No,
by
but it
Colby
connected,
property?
they connected it
A
too.
range road, but they connected it, the two together. They never connected
Right.
to the range road.
That's right.
As known.
That's right.
That's correct.
so
It went north and then south on the
Yeah.
other side,
Here.
down the steep embankment.
then why on the, I have a question.
This
And
is wrong.
I'm not questioning for any other reason other than the fact that I don't know. If in fact that is a road, a town road,
See it?
then why would there be a fence on the opposite end of it?
There isn't a fence on our,
If you continued straight on Range Road where your house is, beyond your house is a fence. Isn't that where the road goes, beyond your house?
no, we don't have a fence.
We have a dog pen.
We have a dog
Oh.
pen. But there's no fence. It actually, we've been,
So it's the dog fence that I'm seeing through the snow that goes right in the way where the road would be.
no, the road
This would
goes
be past
actually in
house
front of
over on
it.
132.
The road goes in front
In
of that.
front of it and then goes to the right?
I know,
And
but
then
look at it
makes
goes
a
Okay.
across,
left
it goes
turn and a
across.
left-hand turn.
Okay.
You're on School Street
down
right there.
to
This is school.
Yes.
And then
crosses
it
a
comes
small
right
road.
off, see how it
And
keeps
then,
going, and across the way, and right over to Crosby's.
Loggers destroyed one of the
so-called
abutments, but there was a
range.
nice stone abutment on the way down that slope towards
This
Gulf
was a
Brook.
bone of contention
Okay.
regarding
We have the remnants of it.
And then it comes back up the other side. And to answer Catherine's question, there were 2 houses underneath 93 that they burned.
Yeah.
That we have the barn from one of them. It was moved down that road somehow and over to our house. And don't ask me how they did it. Maybe Roger was around. Oxen, yeah. Yeah,
Seriously?
I don't know how they
Really?
did that. That's,
Wow.
that was, it's not a very
That-
big road. but
That's a feet and a half.
Yeah.
Trees have come up. But on the other side, the road comes out more towards Rocky Spring Farm, what so-called, that's what
Right,
people call it in there, and right in there, that's where the road comes out.
See, this is a letter from Paul Derbyshire that did some research for us on the Range Road, and actually that section that involves you, it's from 2002, and I can give you a copy of this. In the last paragraph, he says, "In conclusion, the town of Samberton did lay out a road from Gulf Road, now School Street, to what is now Sanborn Road. In 1792, a road was laid out easterly to the Ebenezer Morrison's son's land, previously owned by Alonzo Arlen," I'll never forget that name, "and now part of tax map R3, Lot 13, owned by Nathaniel Thayer. In 1813, a second road was laid out from the Sanborn Road area westerly to Jonathan Morrison's son's house, but was not worked and was used as a bridle path. In 1850, a third road was laid out easterly from Gulf Road to a few rods east of Jonathan E. Morrison's. This road was to be kept in repair by Morrison and remain a highway so long as said petitioner shall keep the same in repair and no longer." And I'm sure he's getting this from Runnels. "It appears that there are still rights-of-way for access to abutting properties along the old rangeway, which could be 4 rods wide. Since the road from School Street is not in repair and is no longer owned by Jonathan Morrison, there probably is no town-maintained road in this area." That's the School Street side of Gulf Road.
No, the town hasn't been maintaining the side, that's true.
That's definite.
But
absolutely sure that what's being referred to as rainfall on the road is in fact Scott's building. Are we absolutely sure of that?
That's what we have in the map.
That is the intent.
That was the intent, but
I know that's the intent.
They just-
there may be a flaw in Article 9 citing the Range Road, because it is...
There is a flaw.
It's definitely known as Stocks Road,
Right.
and is so listed on the map, not Range Road.
This is the map from Reynolds, and you can see that what you were saying is correct, and I've always agreed with your interpretation of it. Oh, I'm sorry. See, here is the School Street side, or Gulf Road, and here is, this is where it would, right, and that would have been the Range Road, because we all know they always laid them straight.
Right.
But this was connected because
They tried to do that.
these
and
families
They never did it.
knew each other. They were related, so they made this way through here because it was a heck of a lot shorter than going any other way.
There's a...
But the question,
This Gulf Brook, there's a huge swamp in here, and they could never, with their
Right.
technology, build that, which is why it actually, from here,
right,
it goes up to almost this map isn't accurate.
that's from Reynolds.
Oh, it's from 1882.
Well, they did better jobs in 1882, I know.
You're a lot older than you look, Jim.
I've looked at the maps, and I've seen maps that are
I need to use the men's room. I'll be back.
yeah. But anyway, it does go up north and then comes back south on Woods. I'll be happy to walk it with you.
That'd be great, I love that stuff.
The summary concern is that taxpayers go to vote on this. Another question, but I'll say this because it's on my mind. When taxpayers go to vote for this, they think they're going to be saving $2,200 a year for the main people. The reality is, even if it's not what, we may disagree about compensation for lost property value, but it's going to cost the town a lot more than the $2,200 it's currently paying each year, which we feel like we cover in our property taxes. You know, we are not costing other taxpayers. We're covering it. This is not a burden that's got to be wasted on to other people. And I think that, okay, you know, they're going to say, oh, well, let's save $2,200. There's only one house down there. But the actual cost of settling this would be more to taxpayers. We don't know the final award that might come to us if the courts have to bid it. But it's certainly going to be more than $2,200 a year. And I think that taxpayers need to know that this is not going to be a cost savings for them. It's not. It's going to open up a can of worms. It's going to open up liability. And then we have to settle on exactly what does the cost of perpetual maintenance mean, and how is that accomplished. And it gets pricey fast, and taxpayers are not going to want that. It's going to cost them more. And I'm concerned that it seems like, oh, it's saving us a little amount of money, but it's actually going to cost them a lot more. And let's see, is it any question?
I'd appreciate a copy of Derbyshire's letter, though, if you...
Absolutely.
You don't have to give it to me today.
So you can have a
Right over
copy.
there.
Make a copy right there.
Excuse me?
Yes, we can just make a copy right here. Speaking of Jim, I believe when this was it 2 or 3 years ago that it was brought up?
2009.
I was going to say about 3 years.
When we were our first year as selectmen, correct? No, we were coming out. No, we weren't selectmen. We were coming in, right? We were coming in. We weren't selectmen then.
Yeah.
It got tabled immediately.
Yeah.
No, it was.
I'd like to see the town discuss it
Right.
and see where they want to go as a town, because I can't believe that they're going to close roads that people live on.
Well, not if it gets tabled immediately. If it gets tabled
No,
immediately,
I'd rather
there's
see
no
them
discussion.
talk about it. I mean, I would be glad to get up and tell them as a resident taxpayer, I think it's a lousy idea. Quite frankly, I probably should have done all this research before, and I didn't. because I wanted to see what, my first warrant, and I wanted to see, what are the ramifications of these things? Well, this turns out the potential ramifications are, bad for the property owners and bad for the town.
Do the people really benefit from this?
I don't know if they do. It saves a plow truck going down the hill, but in the scheme of things, legally, you have every right to do what you say you're going to do, and will probably be compensated for what maintenance you'll have to then pick up, and we'll pay for it anyway. I'm just guessing here, but, that's the case law. As Catherine pointed out, the case law, they award, if you lay out a road, here's the funny thing, if we'd have laid out that road, you'd have been able to get damages. And then if we turned around and closed it, you could have got damages again.
But the road wasn't laid out.
No, I understand that, but the law is definitely, we can do it, but I'm not, I don't know if we'll take an actual vote, but when the thing comes up, I'll definitely say what I just said.
My question was, what was Dennis's rationale when he got this on the...
Oh, thank you.
What did he say was the reason for it?
I don't know. Now, I know you're gonna be, what do you mean you don't know? It was on the warrant 3 years before, and it was immediately
I think
tabled.
we'll have to ask Joyce that question, because we're not aware of it.
No, and you're right, I really can't give you a...
I think the
Conjecture.
feeling is, and I don't know, but we've, in the years since I've been a selectman, when it came up the first time, it was a question of you have a section of road servicing one residence, and that's the case in the other article. You have a small section of road servicing one. Is it fair to have the town plow that one section of road for one residence? And I think it's as simple as that.
And we feel that we pay for that town through our taxes. And that's a basic right of living in the town, on a town road. And we don't feel that it is a burden.
Well, then how do we do the others that pay for taxes as well? We don't plow their driveways. And see,
It's not a
that's what,
driveway. They don't live on a town road.
right,
This is a town road.
that's the difficulty.
If I can address this to a certain degree, those people that have been in town long enough remember the McIntyre situation on that road. I've forgotten the exact name of it, but the developer built it, sold all the lots, put money in for a bond, and the road was not built to town specifications or state specifications when the developer left. And the costs of building those roads to state specifications and town specifications had vastly increased between when the bond was posted and when the developer went belly up. And those people on that road had petitioned the town, and the town, granted, I know that it might be a sore part because I think the town ended up getting sued out of this deal, but it was not for trying to do the right thing by the people on that road, which was to bring it up to town specifications, to use the bond that was there and appropriate sufficient capital from the rest of the townspeople to bring that road up to snuff. Now, that's another dead-end road, and ostensibly those people had a private road that should have been potentially discontinued completely, and the town could have just kept that bond money. But I've actually paid taxes for the betterment of that road. So there are people in town that have benefited by our paying our taxes for these betterments. And I don't think that it's unreasonable that we should expect that the 200-year-old contract would remain in full force and effect.
Well, you have certainly enlightened us.
Well, thank you for your time, and I hope that you'll have your vote and have your discussion, and that you'll come out and recommend a vote against, or that perhaps some of you who feel otherwise should speak that you're for it, and some against, if it turns out to be that you're of mixed opinion.
We'll just table it again. But I think that Dennis should be here in the discussion. And I don't know, I just, we just feel very It's like, we can't get our heads around this. To us, it feels incredibly unreasonable, a really bad precedent. You know, we bought our house 20 years ago on the town road, we've been paying taxes as if that's the case. We've been cooperating with the town, we do a lot, Jim does a lot of the maintenance himself, so it doesn't become a big deal. And we just deal with it if it gets money. Then what happens, yeah, you've got plowing to do, but it just doesn't seem like it's that big of a burden. And the savings of it, $2,200 a year, this could turn into a big deal and something quite expensive that nobody's going to want. It'll cost the town a lot.
And we don't complain when it's mud season and, you know, we can't get in and out. Roger has you know, let it be known for many, many years that if we would need to park on his property, that we may do so. He's been very neighborly, and that's what New Hampshire's about.
Mr. Abbott's a neighborly guy.
Can I copy your letter with the points in it
I'd like to add a comment, if I may.
Sure. Sure.
that you read
My
from?
son and I are here this evening.
This letter?
Is that okay?
Yeah, you can keep it.
Oh, thank you. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything else, that one point is...
We could not ask for other names than Jim and Roberta Thompson.
Great, thank you. We'll put that into the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
very
coming in.
much.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you, Jim.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down.
Have a good night.
Thank you, Jim.
There it is.
I have a real concern that I just got in here, and I think we should talk about it.
Pardon?
I have a real concern about the way this article got into the town warrant. Real concerned about it now. I was
Well, moving
led to believe-
forward,
Except none of
What?
us questioned it.
But I was led to believe something entirely different.
Oh,
moving forward.
We'll talk
on
about it
this,
later.
Do we, I mean,
We'll
is
talk
it
about it a
even,
lot later.
is it even appropriate for us to take a vote to recommend or not recommend this particular?
yes, it's our warrant. It's our warrant.
I'll make a motion that we vote to not recommend it.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded not to vote to recommend Article 9. Is there any more discussion on the motion?
Should we expand it to Article 8?
I would go that far to say 8 or 9.
Well, is Article 8,
It's referring to Pest House Road, and there's
Different.
a house on that property as well, correct?
Right, but
I
there's
mean, my main...
There's a
my main
graveyard
cons-
beyond that,
An active graveyard?
yes,
Town graveyard.
that they
There are a
maintain.
lot of town graveyards that nobody is, they're not
Yeah.
They
active.
maintain it.
Okay. Well, they maintain the one that's near her property and across from me, yet no one's been buried in it for, since this,
Well,
probably
there's a
the
lot of
30
them that are
years.
not active. Nobody has been, no, it's not
Understood,
active that's
understood.
they're being buried.
When I say active, I mean, could
But-
somebody be buried there?
Yes.
ours,
A family member could choose to be buried in that cemetery.
well, the
It's not a public cemetery.
The cemetery on my property is full.
Yeah. Well, that,
So-
and it's maintained by the town as it's supposed to be, but nobody, no additional people can be buried there. That's what my definition is. It's only my personal definition of active.
I have one of
You are
those
a cemetery
cemeteries.
guy,
We happen to
so-
own it, and it is active.
Well, my cemetery I own too, but according to the letter I got from the town, shortly after we lived there, is, according to the state of New Hampshire, we can't own the cemetery even though it's our land, and that the
Interesting.
town maintains it.
I have a deed to our cemetery.
Yeah, it's part of my deed too.
No, I have a specific, separate deed
no, well, the
for the
cemetery
cemetery.
Is yours a family?
Okay, so can we amend the original motion to include Article 8?
Yes, I would like to amend that motion to include both Articles 8 and 9.
I would like to second your amendment.
Yeah. My reasons behind this is we all live on town roads or state roads. I won't even count state roads. Those of us that live on town roads, we have, as part of our tax dollars that we pay, expect certain services, and one of those is to have the town road plowed in the wintertime after snowstorms. And those of us that do live on a town road get this service all the time. Now, if these people are living on a town road just to stop the plowing in the wintertime, we're going to decommission the road?
We have people that live on town roads that we don't maintain.
Oh, I understand that, but most of the town roads we do maintain.
Are those, Kathy?
The range roads.
And they know we don't maintain them.
Jordan off of School Street signed an agreement with the town that if he built there, he understood that we would not maintain that town road.
The other one is Range Road off of Caleb.
When he built the property, the road was already not being maintained, correct?
Right, but
Whereas this is a different situation.
I understand that. I was just cringing at the generalization that was made, that people that live on town roads.
Right. But when they understand if
Class
you
5
build on a
roads.
road that
Class
is
5
already
maintained roads.
discontinued, you're taking your chances.
Right.
Right, but I just was made,
The same as those people
Yeah.
up on Westwood, Westview, whatever it is,
Yeah, Westwood.
which is a private road, and
Right.
Jocelyn Drive, a private road.
Ruby Lane, a private
Again,
road.
you know, because these people knowingly purchased property there that this road was not going to be maintained by the town, and probably never would be. This, on the other hand, is a whole nother, whole nother situation where they are on a currently maintained road, and now we're looking to take it away from them, which is going to devalue their property.
Right.
So I'm not sure that he isn't right that, they stand
Well,
a very good chance of winning.
I don't
the
know
lawsuit.
as it would devalue his
Might not.
property as it stands today, because a lot of us have long driveways, and that doesn't devalue our property.
He cannot
However,
subdivide the
but that's not
property.
devaluing his property as it
No
stands
longer
today.
has
He would no
property
longer
on
have the
a
ability to
public right-of-way.
he would no longer have the ability to subdivide.
Which would devalue.
Well, it wouldn't devalue. He has a value of his property in current use right now today. If we discontinued his driveway and his house remained as it is today, current use house, that wouldn't necessarily devalue the property. But what it would do, it would limit his ability to subdivide that property into 8 building
I
lots.
disagree
think
that
it would limit its
be a
access.
devaluation of the property, because if he wanted to sell that house, and all of a sudden somebody's got to think, well, now I've got to maintain 900 feet of so-called driveway, maybe I'm going to think twice about buying that.
Especially if there's a
When it
gate at
was
the
a
top
public road
end.
at one time.
Depends on how much privacy you like, is the point I'm getting at.
Right.
What it will do, he will no longer be able to subdivide into 8 lots.
Which is something to think about. Okay, we have a motion on the floor that was seconded, and then amended and seconded. So all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Okay, moving right along. Joyce, you're up. Judy, did you want to speak to us? Or are you just coming for the entertainment? Okay.
Are you
Are you
having
entertained?
fun?
getting your money's worth?
The meeting is still young.
You said you had one thing?
Yes, the Old Home Day meeting is for March 21st, 6:30 at the Pines.
Oh, it can't
I
be.
won't be here.
No,
March 31st?
no, March 21st is camping.
2 weeks from yesterday.
Yeah.
We have,
I'll be in Georgia, so I can't be there. But I want to be involved in it, Judy.
that is,
I've got some of the signs and stuff like that.
So when,
Still banners.
Yep.
Okay, what time did you say?
Wednesday, the 21st?
$6:30.
Boy, that week.
And there seems to be some confusion as to which day it's actually going to be in June. And our bylaws read that it's the last Saturday in June, which would be the first of year.
Okay.
If people find while getting different answers.
That didn't help. Yeah, okay.
The last what in June?
So Old Home Day would actually be June 16th, correct?
30th.
30th.
It would, the last one, 30th, June 30th?
Yeah, because there's
Always been
5.
the last Saturday of June.
It's July 4th weekend. Isn't that technically July 4th weekend?
July 4th would probably be in the middle of the week.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
but
July
that's
4th is
technically,
Wednesday.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so much for bylaws. Well, I guess we'll have to abide by them.
Yep. Okay.
So noted. I got to write this down. I don't write in pen in my book.
Is it okay if I put that on the town calendar on our website?
I think I might have one. What?
I'll put June 30th on our town calendar, our website.
And I had time to check, yeah. Oh, so I wouldn't have to write it down. Oh, gotcha, all right. Oh, I got that, I like that. I like, yeah, it's a little bit slow these days. Has everybody signed, no, okay. So,
Everyone signed that?
yep.
What is that?
Yeah, that might, Scott,
Jane might want to sign it.
What is it?
Scott's brother-in-law passed away. Scott McGuffins.
Oh, really?
We just gave it to you.
that was Scott that had texted me moments ago, and, but he said it could wait, because we were waiting for him to comment on, I believe there's 2 documents. One's in the to be signed. This has to do with the auction.
Yep.
And the other is the ads. Let me look.
Oh, yeah,
I think
that's
the
in the
FYI.
FYI.
And then this is,
The ads are in the FYI.
this is the bidder's acknowledgement that I had asked Scott to take a look at. But he said,
There's something in the to be signed folder, you said?
Right there.
the lead paint.
Right there. It's right there.
The lead paint.
Look,
Oh,
it's
no.
my hand.
Yeah, that has to be signed. Okay. Have fun.
Oh, these all have to be signed in the to be signed folder.
For the auction, I didn't want to lose it, because Greg said he really needs that tomorrow.
Oh, I see.
Okay, registered bidders are acknowledged that there is a public auction having been exposed as such means of newspaper advertising, including local, statewide, and the Boston Globe. In addition, the property has been exposed by means of NNEREN, multiple listing service, real estate network, and the auctioneer's internet listing, along with public postings and direct mailings by the auctioneer in the town of Tilton. Registered bidders further acknowledge that prior to registering to bid and/or bidding, he or she has had an opportunity to review all of the terms, condition, and associated notes and requirements to which they will be bound. Had an opportunity to consult with counsel to their satisfaction concerning New Hampshire law governing tax-deeded property sales and the nature of the title to be transferred to the purchaser by the town of Tilton. C, had the opportunity to examine public records of the title to the extent they have deemed necessary. D, an understanding that their bid is irrevocable. E, an understanding that the title is sold subject to any liens, encumbrances, or other matters of title that may exist. However, the property is free of any prior year property tax liens or similar encumbrances held by the town of Tilton as of the date of the conveyance. And he said this was okay.
No, he just said he would catch up with me later, because we were in the middle of a meeting.
Okay.
So Scott has it.
But one thing, yeah, he's seen it, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him on it. The other thing is in the ads, which,
Yep, right here, the green.
green, okay.
Yep.
Now, we had said that in the, does he have in the bottom of that one that the 2012 property taxes are due?
Yes, the buyer will pay the 2012 taxes on the property as the date of the conveyance. This will be stated in the purchase and sale agreement, which is presently being drafted and will be available soon.
Okay. Did we want to add that to the bidder's acknowledgement as well? Or are we covered in the ad and the
This is where he's talking about right here.
purchase and sale?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
But we should probably add it to the
That
bidders.
that should be in this. We need to cover ourselves every which way.
Right. Certainly won't hurt.
The,
And I also got this information from Greg. The price for the Globe is $267 and some change to run it for one day in their real estate section. And he also said it would just be easier for him, like our agreement says that we would advance him $1,000, and he said it'd just be easier for him. He'll pay, and then he'll
and then get reimbursed?
I mean,
Okay.
we'll reimburse him from the proceeds.
All right, that's fine.
Is that okay? I didn't think it was going to be a
If
problem.
that's okay with him, that's fine with
Well, he
us.
suggested it, and I said, hey, anything to make it easier for us is okay with me. So if you're okay with the advertisements, then he'll go ahead and get those run, and as soon as he has them scheduled, he'll let us know what the cost
Now,
is.
what is the lead paint?
If you remember the night he was
Just,
here with the purchase and sale, we thought that the board had signed it that night. I know Greg had signed it, but he needs the board to sign that. And there's only 2 lines for seller's
Just a
signature.
disclaimer. We
Yeah.
don't know.
We don't know, right.
But it makes them aware of the fact that, yeah, there could be lead paint there.
Yeah. Yeah, any property we buy and sell,
So the only thing I need to do then is have Scott look at the purchase and sale agreement, which we're still in the process of drafting. Let him know that the board reviewed this evening, and we'd like to add that one section.
Yep.
And if he's okay with that, we'll go ahead and do it, because I really want to get my notices out. And in the notice, I'll have the letter, I'll have the bidder's acknowledgement, and I'll have the same ad that's going to everyone else.
I have a question concerning these payables. Is this can I ask it now? Mm-hmm. Okay, Chief. My question is from you. There's a auto serve bill here for $901.60. Starter, diagnostic, spark plugs, fuel filter. And I was wondering, I was under the impression, and I might be wrong here, see, but I thought that Art down at Public Works was working on our police cars and doing maintenance. That this wouldn't fall into replacing the starter. Spark plugs for $186 it cost us to get AutoServe to put the spark plugs in a police cruiser.
What year was which one was it?
Either way, I gotta imagine that, doesn't say. Right, I guess it,
Look at
maybe
the
somewhere in
invoice.
here it does, but...
Yeah, look at the actual invoice.
60, no. Which car? Which car?
Should say which car it is.
Tag number
Denied.
3836.
I know that one of them
He doesn't qualify for
down
the
there
elderly.
diagnostic, and that's why they, when they got done checking it out, that's what it needed was.
I sat down with Lauren and went through each one of these to make sure everything was checked off in the proper boxes.
Just went down there and they realized the starter was gone, but that's being warranted.
Well, this one, I think it's an 08. Oh, no, it's a 2006 Ford Crown Vic, blue.
Yeah, I know that they had to do a whole bunch of stuff with mine because they didn't know.
This is the one.
Yeah, we send them down to highway, and if they can't
Yeah,
tell what...
these are just from the selectmen.
Take it to a dealer.
Okay, that answers my question. I just thought we were bringing it to Art, and it might be some
I
diagnostic
said to
computer he
her
doesn't
because
have
she
or
sees them all the
something.
time.
Oh, spark plugs.
She was asking
Okay.
to ask her too, but I didn't figure it was my grade, so.
I just wondered how that worked.
Okay,
Elections.
Thank you.
all right?
I am.
I
Well,
had an
Do you want this back, so you can, just because of what it is? We know we've got to change it.
I had an opportunity to speak to Kent Finnemore and Chuck Mitchell today about how to handle the fire district and school district elections on Tuesday. As you know, Kent Finnemore has some personal family health issues. And so I guess what's going to happen is Kent will appoint Chuck as the assistant fire district and school district moderator. I'll be appointed as a ballot clerk. The ballot clerks, as the individuals come in, it'll be the town voter checklist that will be used for all three elections. But there will still be two people. The town ballot clerks will be handing out the school district electronic ballot and the town electronic ballot. We can see if they will also hand out the fire district ballot as well. So in the past, we always had that separate. But since now it's an electronic ballot, there's really no reason to not have the ballot clerks hand out all three. And then myself and Katina, one of us will take turns, will be positioned at the voting booth.
does each
Ballot
district
box.
and town, each entity have their own ballot counting box?
No, this is what's
Just
new.
one.
There's one electronic box, but there's three electronic ballots.
Okay.
So there will be no hand ballots to be counted
How
for
do
the
they
fire district.
separate them? Does the box itself know enough to separate fire and district?
Such a way that the box would know and it would go, okay, this is a fire district and it's going to go...
Yeah, I think
They have barcodes. I saw them today, as a matter of fact. They have barcodes on them. I didn't know what that was for, but
So I
that
think
makes
that's
sense.
great.
Fascinating.
So we should be all set, and I did talk with the board to just make sure it was okay that I could be at the polls all day. I'll be sworn in for the fire district.
Are they paying you?
And the school district. I'll be sworn in for both. No, I don't believe so. I don't recall ever, I know that in Northfield, when I count ballots, I get like $25, but not in the fire district. So I just want to let you know we're all set for that. As you know, we, most of last week and this week, we worked on finishing the annual report, but it could not have been completed without the help of the Board of Selectmen coming in and actually assembling them, so that was wonderful. It just wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have met the deadline.
Can you tell me how much money was saved in materials between moving that function out of house and us doing it?
I remember one year when Tim first did it, he came up, in fact, it was even printed on the town report, it's like
It is.
$1.11 per booklet.
There's no cost assigned for labor, correct?
Right.
It's about $3,000 we saved the
So we
first year.
saved about $3,000.
But it's,
But I don't have all the invoices yet to calculate how many booklets we made and what we spent in materials. I don't have that yet.
But if we give any charge at all to the hours of labor that we used, I mean, if you really want to compare it to doing an outside agency, I think you have to assign a labor value and get a more realistic number. Because, yes, we might only spend X number of dollars on materials, but then it took, 4 days of steady hard work to get them all done.
And several employees, town employees, work above and beyond their regulation job description at a very busy time of the year to assemble and put this thing on the computer so that all we had to do was put spirals and
holes.
and the holes.
Put it together.
So
Put it
really, I certainly don't mind doing it, but I think we're just kidding ourselves if we just say, oh, it's only $1.10 a copy or something, because we have to, part of the charge, if you're going to do that, then I think whatever we paid to have outside agency do it, you really want to compare apples to apples, then you have to take away the labor charge, and then that is what we save.
I think last year, when he did the charge, he included the labor of putting it together, assembling it. If I remember correctly, it was putting it together, the computer time, and then how many it took to assemble it based on a figure.
Right,
We just haven't had a chance to
right.
calculate that yet, but thank you for doing that.
That's right.
The other thing I worked on towards the end of last week and just finished up today was doing all the reconciliations for the employee-paid supplemental insurance benefits. It was quite time-consuming and confusing, but it's done. We still have 4 policies under the Colonial Insurance that will go for 1 more month, but they will be done as of April 13th. So we got that all squared away.
This is in addition to, or is this all outside agencies? Or is this just we can have one, but not more than one?
Those are direct deposits.
Okay. We're not paying, this is all insurance agencies.
That is strictly the employee's insurance. It's supplemental to what the town
And now
provides.
the employee's picking that up and paying it on their own.
No, they've always paid it on their own. They're just
but
going to be doing
We're
it
not
direct bill.
deducting it, and we're not cutting a check.
Correct.
That is correct.
They're paying it on
Employee
their
is
own.
not going to have that deducted from their pay. They're going to have to write their own check to maintain insurance
Right.
on a monthly basis,
Right.
just as if it were car insurance or homeowner or
Right,
whatever.
and they don't lose the group rate. The one part that was confusing, which explains now why with Davis and Toll, we got one bill that they had generated themselves, is because for those employees, it was 3 different insurance companies. So some employees had 2 of one insurance company, and this employee had 2 of the others, and one had just this one, and whereas their deduction was all clumped together just for Davis and Toll, and that's what Davis and Toll would do, would be to disperse it to those various insurance companies. Plus, they all had different payment policies. Some of the policies, when you paid, you were prepaying for the month, and the other policies, you were paying after.
Right.
Right.
So to get that all to align with what the deductions were for January and February, it was, I just wasn't aware, because I wasn't aware of what was being done on the Davis and Toll end. I knew on Colonial, because you're just dealing with one insurance carrier, and I know what their policy period is.
So now it's more streamlined, we've got that away from,
Davis and Toll is all done.
okay.
And then on the Colonial, there were 6 employees, 2 are all set, and I've got 4 more. But they're already into the month of March, so we'll have that end as of.
Okay.
So that's moving along. In your to-be-signed folder, I met with Lauren today. There are some, the disposition of abatement forms in there, and some exemptions, and some denials. So when you get to that, if you have any questions. We also talked about the Tilton Northfield Water District, and I explained to her how, it is a village district. It was created as a village district. There's nothing to prevent the voters at their annual meeting, if they want to extend their bounds, to do the whole town. There's nothing that prevents those voters from saying, oh, we're going to assess taxes. They have all the powers and duties and functions of a municipality as a district. And so she said, oh. And I guess you had sent her something.
Was she confused
sent her a
because of the
copy of
LLC?
Yes.
Yes.
I sent her a copy of this, and if you look on page 5, the commission right in there, not the water commission, but the state that they dealt with to buy it, declares that they are considered a water district,
A district, yes.
even though it's not in there.
Well, the LLC is owned by the water district.
Right.
Which
Correct.
would make it taxable.
Correct.
Anyway, this does go, and she said that she would read through this, and then she would send us a note.
She probably didn't understand the relationship between the two.
The other thing we worked on, which was quite extensive, was some interrogatories for one of our
I'd love a copy of that.
tax abatement appeals before the Belknap County Superior Court. And so we worked on our responses, and she will send them back to Adele, and Adele will have those ready for the board next Thursday. If I get them beforehand, I'll email and let you know, because it's quite a bit to read. We feel good about the responses that we gave to Adele. On 61 Business Park Drive, I still not have received any response from Mr. Aho. Our last communication was that he acknowledged that he received it. That was on February 24th, and he would be reviewing it.
The mold mitigation, okay. We got to get hold of it. So I suggest that we put an email into John and try to ask John to communicate with him, because we have tenants in there that it is very pertinent that get resolved.
So he will have had that for over 2 weeks. The underground storage tank, the replacement language, the Cheryl Soma had that revised language, which their attorney had already seen, because it was in the original copy that went to their attorney and the AG's office, and the Northfield Selectmen have no problem with it. I had a telephone conversation with Scott Davis. He had no problem with it, and I just need to confirm with the fire district commissioners. So the plan is that we just present the agreement as is and make sure that the voters are aware that this replacement language will be put in there by the governing bodies, who will be the oversight representatives on the oversight committee. Only the governing bodies can amend the agreement. Are you chewing or waiting to say something?
I'm thinking.
But both Northfield and the school district, the understanding is that there won't be any amendments to the agreement coming from the floor. If people have suggestions or things that they would like to see in the agreement, then they can tell their governing body.
You see, that's my problem. If a voter from the floor wants to amend that warrant article...
Well, they can amend the warrant article. Sure.
Not the agreement.
Not the agreement.
They can amend it.
Not the agreement. They're not part of the agreement.
The agreement hasn't... Wow, okay. They're all part of the agreement.
Yeah.
They're all part of the agreement.
Well, it all affects them, but I still don't see how we can allow the agreement to be amended on the floor. That's not what the warrant article says,
That's
is it?
why I didn't want it to be a warrant article. It doesn't need to be a warrant article.
Well,
But it'll be interesting.
For the school board's
Somebody
sake.
wants to make an amendment. I hope they don't, but if they do...
Well,
That's gonna
when
be
we get up and explain we're paying
They can only-
$3.29 a gallon for gas, that 5 cents per gallon doesn't seem like a whole lot. And all it is, without that maintenance on that tank, we have to pay $3.40, $50, $60, whatever it is they're charging today.
$3.70.
Yeah,
72.
there you go.
But for town meeting, Joe, I'll give you all the financial data on how much money's in each account, how much we have held in our liability account, and as far as what we've paid, we can just get that from the
Do we have
expenditure report.
paperwork that tells us how much gas we purchased in the last year, for instance?
Yep.
I'd
The
like
number of
to have
gallons
that
and the
as
cost,
well,
yep.
so that I can show
We get
them.
that each month with our
All right,
invoice.
show them how much money that we've saved by utilizing the tank, and the convenience of it, and blah, 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 but certainly it's a money issue first and foremost. We've saved thousands of dollars here. and would have paid pennies on that for the maintenance of the tank.
We still have to pick on who's going to speak on which article.
Yeah. And you would have time to do that next Thursday.
Catherine, can you make sure we put that in the agenda? Assignment of articles.
Okay, so I'm relying on your memory, saving me having to go
That's a very poor thing.
to go listening to the tapes.
That would be after me.
In February, we received 2 donations to chat, and I'm sure you would have mentioned them. And we also received a donation to the Tilton Fraternal Association for Riverside Park, and they put maintenance fund.
Yes.
So we did talk about this?
Yes.
Did you formally vote to accept this money?
We, if they're the ones I think, we voted yes to accept this.
Okay.
We did vote for that.
Okay.
And if my memory serves me, did we vote for the auto serve, $1,500? I believe we did make a motion to do that. And $500 from Cindy Reinhardt. I believe we did do that.
All right.
I know we did the Cindy.
Okay, because I remember talking about it, but I couldn't.
Yep,
couldn't
we did.
remember we voted. The one thing I did do is I called Ralph Carter from the Fraternal Association, and I explained to him, I said, we don't have a Riverside Park Maintenance Fund. I said, how do you want this money to be spent? And he said that this
Parks Commission.
went back to when the Parks Committee was doing fundraising.
Correct.
And I explained to him, I said, now it's all that's been turned over to the Parks Commission. I said, do you mind if we turn it over to the Parks Commission? He said, no, that's fine.
Yep.
So we'll make a note of that in the minutes so that we have that, and then...
I don't think that you were here because I had already made that phone call.
Oh, you did, to Ralph?
When they gave it to us,
Oh.
they explained it to us, that that's how it was supposed to be dispersed. And I think I was here at the meeting when we accepted it.
Okay.
I said that's how it was supposed to be dispersed.
All right. Now, my question is now the Parks Commission that can just go in the general fund, they know that they have $100 that they can spend for Riverside Park. So I'm assuming this would just...
Riverfront Park.
Riverfront Park. It would just stay in the general fund, but their bottom line of what they can expend has been increased by $100, rather than transferring it into one of their recreation funds. I mean, if they want it done
Well, if they
that way.
said maintenance fund.
Yeah, it should go into the
general
Park
fund.
Commissioner's general account.
Okay. That's what I thought.
But the assignment of offices, while we're on Parks Commission, you have, well, Cindy has, I should say, has under Parks Commission here, the ex officio as Catherine, and Catherine is not the ex officio. It's Norm that's the ex officio for Parks. Well, I know it's a moot point, but as far as her records are concerned for, this is kept, these are not accurate, and it hasn't been for a year, and Cindy needs to correct that, because that, for the year 2011, that the records need to be corrected, because Norm and Catherine was the alternate.
I was their secretary.
But also alternate, because we voted that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
because
mean, yeah.
before, you were the ex officio and Sandy was the alternate ex officio.
Now, I also have one other thing while we're on this now. I find it very difficult to, we have members that we know we're going to reappoint, okay? Chat being one, and zoning being another.
And planning.
And planning.
We do have at least one on planning, I think.
And you, well, there's lots of them, but what we get is empty, 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 empty. And so instead of presenting this to us and say, these are the people that are going off in 2011, these are the people that need to be reappointed in 2012. For me, personally, I'd like to see that, because now I have to go in and verify all of the chat people, and, I know that Joe Plessner, upon death, is going to be to the zoning board.
Well beyond that.
But,
No, I agree.
and for us to be able to see that and say, well, look there's 4 members here that, the only ones on the zoning board now is Bob Brown. Come on, there's got to be more. And there are. And, the same way with the Park Commission,
You died to get off it.
What I can do is, because Cindy had sent that to me, and she said, please distribute.
I would still like the prior year to still be in there.
Yep.
And
I can
if
handwrite,
anything,
I can
she could-
handwrite it
If
on
anything,
there.
she should attach the old one. I mean,
okay.
she's created these new ones. She should attach
Yep.
the previous.
Yeah.
because the old one, yes, and the old ones for the year 2011, you really need to make those changes, because, see, the year 2011, we voted Tom as chair and Jane Alden as vice chair.
Was that ever communicated?
No, yes, but it's not communicated here, so we know next year, after town meeting, we will re-vote them. We just voted them.
What I can do is, because I have my sheet, because that's what I did to do the people serving Tilton, is I think the easiest would be is if I just handwrite in a different color who the incumbents are. And then after town meeting, you can go through.
And then appoint which ones are,
You want to reappoint.
exactly. I think that would, for the larger of the boards, it would be
Right.
very, very helpful.
And also, maybe do it even before next Tuesday. That way, when you're out and about talking with people, you can say, oh, are you interested in being reappointed?
Well, I did speak with Gus, and I said, Gus, if you haven't already, please talk to the board members that are up this year. Dave was not going to re-up, and so she did do that. I know the planning board, we're losing one. I know he's not going to re-up. So, Mike Curran. He's been on it for 14 years.
I understand, but he still have 14 more to go.
Yeah, but he's really involved right now with his family.
I understand that. Well, 14 years is a whole long...
Yeah. So anyway, I guess what I want to talk to the board about is if someone is re-upping, why do we have to make them, fill out the whole thing again?
We should know.
To fill out another paper?
We should just be, as a board, we should just be reappointing them
Yeah, but
as a
they're
motion.
sworn in again.
Well, then that's
It's always-
that. I mean, their
Because
term
it's always
ends.
The term ends,
Yeah.
right. Their term ends.
So
And-
I just have Gus let Cindy know who I need paperwork on, so that when I'm going to the next zoning,
The planning board.
and planning, but the zoning will come first.
Right.
This month.
That's
And
correct.
swear in all the newbies.
Right,
Newbies and re-ups.
right.
Because I was really surprised, they have a lot of people that are, their term is up this year. That's surprising.
Well, conservation, too. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Budget committee and...
Yeah.
Keep
So,
me in mind if there is an opening on zoning, because I
okay,
will do that.
I'll let Joe know. I don't know whether there is or not. I know. the
Well,
zoning-
Foster,
Yes, but they took the one, Art was an alternate and made him,
well, even if they need another alternate,
Yeah.
otherwise I might be interested in planning.
okay, I will let them.
That'd be great. Okay.
So
So-
you'll have a bunch of appointment papers for us to,
Yes, we
Sign.
need to get that taken care of, so I can get them sworn in.
Can you make me a bunch of copies or
Of appointment
appointments so I
papers,
can
yeah.
do it at home and make that up, and maybe make me a copy of just the chat, so I'll know which ones I need to appoint or not appoint, because I'm sure they're going to, and we have some newbies, and
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any information over there about the recycling committee? Because there's one
Yeah.
on there, too.
Yes, there's, yes.
Removing an alternate to full member and then adding another alternate, I hope. I gave her the,
Concord Solid Waste, Lakes Region, Parks, Sewer.
March. Yeah, but she has other things happening and,
I'm sorry?
Are you going to try and be on the recycling?
I think I'm just going to take one committee at a time.
Okay.
I'll
well, if it comes on down, I
enter
might
the
ask you.
incumbents,
At least to be an
make sure
alternate.
that you all have that right before
But
next
no, you don't want to
Tuesday,
do it.
Daytime meetings.
so that as you're talking to people,
Well, it is now, but we have a new chairman that sets
You'll
new
know to
agendas
say
and
this.
new meeting times, so I don't know.
yeah, you need to
Don't know yet.
be re-sworn in.
Well, I know planning and zoning is taken care of.
Take a look at that, Joe. I marked the recycling for you.
Well, thank you.
I had talked with Sandy about this, and both she and I agree. I had received a phone call from this individual wanting to know if the town was interested, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's just a little itty-bitty easement right there. It's in yellow. If the town was interested, and when I did some research, I left it with, I said, well, bring it to the board and I'll get back to you. It would really be more appropriate for her to approach a butter who uses that easement to access their back lot.
A tiny piece of land, if you look at the subdivision that was approved, it is a strip of land that was set aside as an easement to the back lot.
What have we got?
What did she want us to do about it?
Where is
She
it?
wants to sell us the strip of land that's used as an easement.
I think we're all set with that.
Right.
That would be my guess.
This is over, you know where the high school is?
Yep.
All right, this is U8, the high school would be down here. Let me see. Where is it? I thought she said, oh, there it is, okay. There was a subdivision done right here, the front lot and the back lot, and there's an easement that comes back to service the back
Playing
lot.
footsies with me. Is that you?
That's me.
Yeah, footsies with me.
But anyway, to give you a perspective of where you at, this is the town facilities.
This?
You're coming
This is the
down
first I've
towards
ever heard
town. The high school is sitting over here.
Is that where the real estate office is?
You know where they sell the fence posts and
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
horse
yeah.
trailers
Okay.
and
Oh,
stuff?
okay, yes.
That's right here.
Yes,
All right.
okay.
Okay, so it's right in there. In fact, it's where I think there's a groomer.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay?
okay.
But anyway, she was wanting to know if we were interested in buying that little strip of land. But there's nothing we can do with it. It's an easement for the back acres. So other than the back lot, who else would really want the land? I told her, I said, well, maybe the front lot would want it only to increase their frontage, but they couldn't put anything on it because
The
it's,
easement would still exist.
right. So, I mean, other than approaching the person it is,
So an individual owns just that easement strip?
I did not look her up to see if she owned one of the lots.
I didn't either, but on her tax card, it references that it's just an easement.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you wanted to go take a look at it, or...
Well, it's a pretty small piece of
I don't
property.
think that they're interested
And
in
what
it.
would we do with it if we...
Yeah, I'm not in.
Unless we had the back lot that abutted the river, that would be nice.
No, I wouldn't be interested in acquiring that.
That would be a wonderful
Considering
river
that it is-
access.
Put a monument on it.
We already have an easement,
What the
so
heck
we
can
don't
you
need
do
to
with
buy
it?
it, right?
It would be nice if we had the back lot along with
I'll
it.
take a
It
look
would be
back,
nice
yeah.
river
Well,
access.
but if I'm looking at this,
It would be helpful if you want, I'll go down and get a bigger map.
no, it's okay. This is one lot, is it not? Mm-hmm. This is a brook. Mm-hmm. So I don't, oh, it's to this one.
This lot, right there,
That
yeah.
one.
That's right.
So if she sells that, how do you get to
Zoning.
10A?
Well,
I know
she
that's
can't
not right,
sell the
so.
easement rights, it's part of his deed. And it was part of the subdivision approval.
Yeah,
That
so,
she had to give access, because you can't have a landlocked piece of land. So, not that she made the subdivision. So when the subdivision happened, then it's in the drawer downstairs if you want to see it. That was set up as an easement to go back so that there could be a lot in the back.
So she owns the piece of property,
She owns the easement,
that's an easement,
right.
and somebody else owns the back property.
I'm assuming, I did not go down and research the...
Yeah, because that makes no sense.
Yes.
Typically, the easement would,
She probably...
that's weird.
Yes.
Well, she doesn't like having to pay taxes on it. So she wanted to know if the town wanted to buy
Well, then
it.
why doesn't she give it to the person that benefits from it?
Why doesn't she just abandon the property?
Right. Or she can offer it for $1 or a couple bucks to the
Has a
guy.
$3,300
If she doesn't
value.
like paying the how much is the taxes?
It doesn't say it's valued at $3,300.
Valued at
We don't
So
have the
it's-
full page.
So what's it
not
cost her,
much.
70 bucks?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, I can understand her
tax
not-
card
if she
doesn't
never
have the
uses
value?
it, not wanting
Has
to pay
value.
70 bucks,
What it
but...
doesn't have is,
All she's got to do is stop paying the
Because-
taxes.
Oh, right,
when it
well-
defaults
The rate
to town,
changes
but
every
there's no value to it, except to the person who owns the property in the back.
Yes, and they might be willing to take it from her.
And they may.
So I'll just send her a letter. Thank you very much. The selectmen reviewed it, but they have no interest at this time. We suggest you get in touch with the abutters. This I had emailed to you. I just thought it was interesting to know what our counterparts are doing with the Northern Rail Trail, that they're working their way now down from Franklin to Concord.
Yep.
Cool.
So,
along that same discontinued rail line that
Yep.
Given the information that we just received on the planning board, do you think that we should put him also within the certificate at town meeting?
Let this
Oh,
back.
Yes, please. Yeah, we can do a certificate tonight.
You know,
14 years.
Just a certificate, not a plaque.
I know, but the certificate has a certain amount of, I don't know, standing. Has he been anything other than the planning board?
No, he's been the planning board, he's been the chairman off and on, but he was on the planning board for 14 years.
When you give them out, just hand them out, that they lose any type of meaningful, this is really for something.
I'd like to be able to think about it,
Not
because
if you-
14 years on the planning board is good
significant.
service to the town, certainly.
Exactly.
It is,
I
but
think that if
I think-
Where is
it's
the
not
line?
just a one-term kind of a thing that where you've really made a significant choice to re-up and re-up and re-up, and that's significant time away from
And
their
keep
their
educated
family.
and keep involved.
well, I'm not
I don't
saying
know.
not to honor him, but, you could do, the other option would be to stand up at town meeting and read into the minutes of town meeting, thank you for your
Well, that's-
years of service.
yeah,
but you
We could make a day,
You
an
could do it-
official day.
you could do
like
it as a-
Cotseba's Day.
You could do it as a proclamation.
I just think that, after a while, it's like, yeah, I got one of those certificates.
That's fine.
It doesn't really-
That's fine, Joe, but I am not going to do a Joe Jessamine Day.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting that. Catherine and I found out that Tilton has an official Cotseba's Day. I think it's George.
no, it's
No, it's
Discolius.
The school
It
year.
was just the one day.
Yeah, just like February 26th or something, which we celebrated this year. Thank you, Catherine, you dug that out. It's on the website and everything.
Peter
Stop everything.
Discolius Day.
Go
Peter Discoulier, one of those Discoulius boys.
put it on the website.
And I forget why. I don't even know
was
if
in
it
the
said
Olympics.
why.
Olympic.
It was in the
Oh,
Olympics
that's what it
back
was.
in the, 80s, 70s, something like that.
Well, he has an
Even if he
official
lives in
Tilton
Samerton.
Day. Yep.
He doesn't live in Samerton anymore, they moved.
Oh, they did.
I think they moved out of state.
So we get rid of that holiday.
I don't think so.
They do not live in
Oh, no.
They moved.
You sure?
I think we should
I
leave
just-
it. I love it. I love having a day.
Double check with my brother-in-law, but they moved, and I think they moved out of state.
Not to Massachusetts.
No, I think.
Oh,
they went out-
wow.
I think they went out west.
Okay.
I already gave you your copy.
Of what?
This was
The poll stuff,
the polling, these three items which make no sense.
How come this thing made us, is coming around again?
I don't know. Maybe it came to me and I... Yeah, it came to me from you.
Way
Chuck,
back to Joyce.
I spoke to Chuck, and he said that, thank you for sending the notice, but I will no longer be town moderator in September. To the best of my knowledge, I did not receive a sticker from the state of New Hampshire for the tent. Also, I do not think we need a ramp, and with no need for ramp, no need for handrails, etc. we'll certainly look this over prior to the town elections. So I just thought maybe you'd want to keep that with you when you're...
Well, I agree. I mean, the school is set up for handicap, easy handicap
Yep.
accessibility, so why do we need a ramp? Where would you put it?
It isn't
It would
really.
be if you had a building that didn't.
Well, that'd be
The
fine.
thresholds, there's a certain tolerance for the thresholds.
Right.
And if they, for example, one year they tried to exclude us from the lobby area, and we could only use the doors to the gym, you would need a ramp.
Well, yeah, in that case you would. But I guess they got rid of the exclusion
two.
because we used the front all the time.
I got
They
two.
did.
Norm's got one.
I pointed out the ADA issue to
Yeah.
them.
Then I guess Pat does have none.
But yeah, Cindy usually has
I
this.
remember seeing it, but
So I did send email Cindy a copy, as well as the board. So do you want me to get together with her and find out who to contact to get this sticker that they're talking about?
This sticker, which one was that?
They don't, they come to the polling place, don't we get the sticker after they inspect us?
No, it's, what is it, what does 15C say?
Is there a state inventory sticker on the tent booth?
No,
Is there a state inventory sticker on the fax machine?
I'm not sure, but I know there's not one on the booth because we looked.
Okay, so that's something that we call the Secretary of State's office for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Say, how do we get this puppy?
I'd get both of them,
Well,
just in case.
did they check the fax machine?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
they
they would
did.
have-
Lauren Nother
But I don't remember
inspected all
what
that
happened with the
stuff.
fax machine. I know there wasn't one on the tent, because that's when I came over and I was looking too, and I was like, I don't see one anywhere. We even looked in the case that the tent came in.
Right.
Well, we'll definitely have to. I want to be completely
'Cause we,
up and up on this.
we use this equipment for our town elections, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, so then, I thought it was just the state elections.
Yeah, we'll have to decide who's going to, Cindy normally will set up Monday, what she set up, 3:30? So Monday at 3:30.
Yeah. The Monday or,
Tuesday's election, so Monday.
Monday, it would be, the kids get out at 2:30.
yeah.
so we usually meet them at 2:30.
Yeah.
Is that the time? I forgot.
I know that
Yeah, you
Dennis
told me an
knows.
hour later the last time.
That's because she'll change her mind.
I didn't change my
No,
mind.
she will.
Oh,
Oh, that you should talk
Okay,
about
well.
now.
Yeah.
let me see, where did, okay.
Who is going to be at the polls on Tuesday, the 13th?
I can come.
I am, and I'm going to be out of town on Monday.
I can.
I can come
8
in
to
after
7.
5 o'clock.
I'll come in first thing. I can come in, be there.
All right, so Sandy's going to be 8.
Well, I'll come at 7. She lets us there before. We'll finish up whatever we gotta do, tape up all the signs, put pencils in all the booths.
I can
You'll do
come,
5 to 7?
I can come at any time. I have company from Michigan all week, but I can come at any time because she,
As long as it's past,
we don't care.
what, 10?
On selection.
Well,
Why don't we have Pat come at 6:45?
Oh, yeah, that'll do great. I do wonderful
Okay,
in the
well, we
morning.
could have you here at 6.
I do wonderful in the morning.
Yes, we know.
You want what?
Whatever you schedule her for, make it past 10 or 11 in the morning.
how late can you stay, Sandy?
I can stay as long as you need me to be there.
Okay. All right, well, at least we've got the opening and the closing covered.
And I've
All right, I
got
will
an
come at-
11 a.m. recycle that'll last 2 hours, but I can be there.
I will be here.
Town calendar, is that
And why don't
on
I-
our town calendar?
I told you about it. I
Why-
don't know
well,
if
then
it's on
our
the
town calendar.
town calendar, because you asked me when.
Sure. I will come at 10 o'clock until Joe relieves me after recycling committee.
Okay,
All right?
yeah.
And then I'll come back to count the ballots.
Check the town calendar.
You can't
can't.
count ballots.
Can't count ballots.
Oh, maybe,
You're on
you know how to
the,
work.
I'm on the ballot.
Yeah. See if that's, the recycling committee's
I can
meeting's on
count,
there.
I can count the fire district, though.
Sandy and I are voting for Al and not Pat.
They won't let you count ballots.
Fire district, there's no
There's only,
balance.
if she only gets 6 votes, she
You
wins.
always have something.
Right.
See, they
There's
have
always
like
something.
Right, and you do have to tie out the number.
There's nothing as little calendar
On the
here.
town calendar?
Because you approached me
Yeah, I
and
reamed
asked
you.
me,
I
well,
reamed you.
I'm not going to say it that way. You approached me with your concerns that we weren't keeping you in the loop, and I looped you at
You
that
did,
time.
so-
Yes. So what happened after that?
You've been looped.
I've been looped.
It's not on there.
It's not on there?
Make yourself a note, Joycey.
I didn't.
Okay.
You got planning board, you got voting day. That's it for next Tuesday.
There you go.
It's my fault.
No planning board next Tuesday.
No.
Instead.
It says planning
I'll have
board.
to log in and do the whole thing.
Yeah, Joyce.
Normally, we would meet
That's
then,
okay.
but we canceled it and moved it to the end of the month because of town meeting.
Whomever you canceled it with did not cancel it. It's on there.
Well, I think that's standing, he just leaves it on there.
No, it should be changed. It should
It
be
should be
updated.
changed. I mean, we did that a number of years ago. There is no planning board meeting on the Tuesday of town meeting.
There's no planning board on the,
On the second
reason
Tuesday
that-
of March, there is no planning board meeting.
Right.
The reason that we had the recycle meeting was to get ourselves prepared for the town meeting and a small presentation that we're giving on our recycle efforts and who's going to set up the booth that Chuck has allowed us to have up near the entrance about recycling information. And
Are you having
in
that
years
this year?
past. Pardon me?
You having that this year?
The recycle information booth, oh yeah. I'm going to keep this
At
is
voting?
a town meeting.
Oh, town meeting.
Town meeting. This is not at voting. I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
Town meeting is voting.
Because
It's not
the
on the
seniors are setting
13th,
up
it's on the
too.
17th. We're
It's at the
discussing.
deliberative session.
Okey dokey,
It's
whatever it
loading.
is, Catherine, that's where we'll be.
Because the seniors are setting up as well.
Hallelujah.
It's
We'll work
still
it out.
loading.
Yeah, I'm sure we
We'll
are.
work it out.
I have no.
We can be, as a matter of fact, Pat, I think it would be just as well for us to be outside the room.
I just have a couple more
Where we would have our
things.
little composter booth and let the chat committee have right there at the door.
Yep.
Because we had the door last time.
We have the pastries in the morning with the coffee.
Well, then you should be closest to the selectmen's table. Well, however you can work that out.
Only if the selectmen bring their wallets, because it's going to the seniors.
Okay. Donations gratefully accepted.
Do we take checks?
With identification.
With identification.
We'll take
Wait a
your
minute.
check.
Did I just hear whether we're going to have pastries they have to pay for this year?
Donations.
No, at the senior thing, table.
But we're going to have our normal,
No.
what
You
happened to
decided
that?
that. Chuck.
I asked you this a month ago, and you said yes, it was okay to have it.
I didn't know we were going to exclude the other.
Catherine, pay your dollar for the
Judy's
senior.
donated all her
I'll
time.
buy you a pastry.
I'm fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm thinking of other people.
You should announce that there's going to be childcare on the 17th,
There's going to be childcare on the 17th
town meeting.
at town meeting.
Who's providing it?
The pine.
Fine.
The
The
Pines.
Pines.
Okay, Donna Rose is going to put in a blurb about the bake sale to let people know not to go to Dunkin' Donuts first and get their stuff. So I'll ask her to put in about the childcare too.
Please.
That'd be great. So it'll be in next week's paper that way.
Just two more quick,
So people could eat these
No,
pastries?
there's no
free.
charge for childcare.
I'm thinking that if they had no money, they could eat the pastries free. I'll donate twice. Who will be providing those pastries, Ms. Bakery person?
Shoot.
Outstanding. Bring me some donuts. You make excellent donuts at the bakery.
I have not heard
Something
anything
with
from this
cocoa
individual.
nuts.
For you.
Excellent. A couple cocoa nuts on there. I'll pay big money.
We're not going to give them any information with this kind of a document for RSA 91A. That's not an RSA 91A request.
And I checked with Cindy, and she hasn't heard from him either.
Why aren't we going to respond to this?
The way I'd left it with him was that I told him he could come in during business hours, and he was welcome to look at the property record card file. And if there's anything he wanted a copy of, it would be $1 a copy. And I said if he wanted copies of any tax payments, he would have to go to Cindy and put the request in writing to her, and once she saw exactly what he wanted,
Specifically.
she would be able to
That's just a
determine
general, for years and years and years.
verbally to him on the phone.
Okay.
I spoke to him.
Can you just document it?
Yeah, I thought I did on the bottom.
Because that is a response.
Yeah.
Because that's years and years and years.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and that is a response.
This is Peninsula Park.
Yes.
I actually have this information that Cindy gave me already, so she has it compiled if he requests it specifically. And
Peninsula Park.
I asked for every record that she had because somebody had asked me and I wanted to know.
I can't write, so I can't tell you. I'll tell you.
And if you do, I don't specifically have a non-public session, but if you do have a non-public session.
We do.
You do, if I could just talk about a little personnel. Actually, it's job descriptions.
I wanted to go over that with you and get a legal one so that we can update that one.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I didn't want to make it a
Right.
specific thing tonight because I hadn't had a chance to talk.
Right, well, we'll stay on together and we'll come up with proper wording.
And then I did research, if you want to talk about our public meeting, I do have my notes from the meeting where we discussed that. Is this all set to do?
Yep.
Okay. And did you have anything in the FYI or the to-be-signed folder that you had questions about?
You answered them.
We need to bring this up in the
Here somewhere.
non-pub because of the, I can't remember what that is.
Yes, that's a non-pub.
Oh, this one's done
Just look through this. Looked at the confidential.
Did we even do this?
I haven't seen it yet.
We haven't even looked at this.
We haven't even looked at it yet. The, okay. So I have a couple of things that I'd like the board to consider. I know that, first of all, I'd like to say thank you to the Tilton Police Department and the detectives, particularly the detectives, for the work that they have done in these past few months. It's been outstanding. We have another 5 arrests in the last 2 days. Outstanding. Outstanding. So kudos to them. The other thing I would like to talk to you about, yes, I can't do that, but I will. Back a year ago, we put a freeze on comp time. We did that because we couldn't make heads or tails out of the timesheets, what was holiday, what was, I mean, it was a mess. We said it was a temporary situation at the time when we made the motion. I think that since then, during this past year, we have made huge strides to correct the holiday, paid time off. We've corrected timesheets. Now we're getting into a point where we're turning back timesheets if they're not correct and they're not getting paid, so they're being more diligent about doing the timesheets. I am not prepared to, at this time, to make a motion to reinstate comp time, but I would like the board to seriously think about that and put it on the agenda for an April 1st reinstatement, or an April sometime in April reinstatement. I think our timesheets are much clearer, much more visible, and I think that it'll go a long way in a good faith effort, because we did it on a temporary basis to clear up and make it more significant to us what was going on and how it was being spelled out. I want to put that out to everybody to see what the consensus is of the board.
Why is it that we're revisiting this now?
Because we told them we would.
We told them we would revisit. We told them that it was a temporary measure. They really would love the comp time. There are a lot of, particularly in instances where the detectives are doing it. You have a situation now where they're working overtime, we're paying him overtime, and we could have comp time, and then they could take it when they could at a later time, which would ultimately save us money. We were saying no to that because we couldn't make out what was comp time, what was paid time off, what was earned time, what was holiday time. So
Would there be a notation on the timesheet
For comp time.
hours being paid, were being paid as compensatory time for such and such a date?
I would highly recommend that it be added to the timesheet, and it's very, very specific. And I think before we institute having comp time back in, that there's a space on the timesheet, their individual timesheets that say 8 hours earned time or 1 hour earned time, comp time earned, so that we can keep track of it. And that if they use the comp time, then there's a place in the timesheet that says on Tuesday, 4 hours used comp time.
Can you,
Contractually, they have how to use it and how to,
does the contract call for them that it must be used within a certain...
yeah, and they can
Use it
carry
or
over
lose
so
it?
much, and they can carry over a portion of it. That's that's contractual.
Because,
Yeah.
Right.
The problem is, then they're accruing paid time off, and they're accruing comp time. Next thing you know, they've got an inordinate amount of time allotted to them, and they're going to want to be reimbursed for it.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
absolutely, but we're
Which
paying
they're
it as they
entitled
go
to-
now.
Which they are entitled to per the contract. They are entitled to do that.
But I mean, I would like to try to see it kept to a minimum in terms of how much they can accrue.
Open
And
the door,
to
buddy.
me, I mean,
I agree
I've
with
only
you.
got one more meeting.
I know. I agree with
You're
you on
still a
that, Norm, and I think that would be something that we could negotiate in the next contract. That would be high on our list, that we could revise the delivery, the use of comp time. I think that is a valid,
I foresee another problem that we had with the vacation time last year, where nobody took it. All of a
And it was
sudden,
ended up at the end of the year.
We had to take it in December, or we had to start carrying
Right.
stuff over because they just didn't take all the time they had.
Right.
All of a sudden, we've got employees with lots of time saved up.
but in
Can I
fairness,
suggest that we discuss this later when we're going to actually discuss it? Because
Right.
you just asked us to consider it.
Yeah, but I don't even know what I'm considering, because I'm the new guy. I have no
The
background.
only thing I
That's
would
why I was
ask is so
asking.
that we can speak,
we're having a meeting.
I'll have more questions during the discussion
Right.
phase, certainly,
but I mean, I would like to add that because of some of the issues that we had, I would like the ability to discuss it first in a non-public so that we can be honest about our feelings and the problems that we had to deal
I
with.
don't think you can.
I don't think you
No?
can.
I'm willing to be honest, straight out in
If you're talking
public.
about specific individuals,
Yeah.
if you're just talking about the issue of comp time, it's no place, it really has no place in a non-public.
Okay.
And there
well,
probably
I wouldn't
wouldn't
think.
be reason to name a specific individual
Wouldn't have
to
to.
No,
discuss it.
I could talk about it without naming anybody in particular.
It's a contractual item, so,
Right.
okay. I just wanted to bring it
Oh,
up
boy.
because we did promise them to relook at it, so I just want you to,
You thinking, would you say April-ish?
I would say April, the end of April would be fine, April, May, that would be okay. I know a busy time for us with the PD tongue-in-cheek, I say that, because this has been a really busy time for us right now with the police.
Lately, when hasn't it been busy?
I know, exactly, but
Well, they're so busy they
typically,
can't
in the
patrol.
summer, it's very busy, and so I'd like to see that.
So do you want to discuss, start discussions last week, March, or something like that?
So we can put it on the agenda the last week in March or the first week in April, and then maybe we can come to a decision
Where are you going?
the last week in April.
Georgia, on as it turns out, the morning of the 20th now, so I can stay for the fire meeting. My brother's having a serious brain operation. I'm leaving to go and help with his recuperation. And go to the Masters, coincidentally, because he lives in Augusta, Georgia.
And of course, he had to
Got
tell
me tickets.
Chuck about that one.
Oh, yeah, Chuck, I am going to the Masters, buddy. I think I said that already.
When will you be back?
I don't
Well, you might
know.
as well rub it in a little more.
I'm guessing mid-April.
Okay,
So
brain
what,
operation.
why don't we, I would rather save the discussion for you to be
I would
present,
like to
because,
be a
okay.
part of it, but certainly my one vote doesn't count.
Or
4 votes.
It does,
It's not something that we need to do right away.
right, it's not something that we, I'd rather you be a part of it than do
put it
I
it.
just don't, I don't want
Right
the
now, the
police
last week of
department to
April,
think
and then we
that
can
they're
move
being
it if
left
we
hanging.
Want to.
I really don't.
So Catherine, the last week of April, put it on the agenda?
And if Joe's not back, we'll move it.
Okay.
I'll be back as soon as I can, after the tournament.
Could you get Tiger's autograph for
Oh,
me?
if I can get Tiger's autograph, you'll see it.
Okay,
I'll be-
for me, though, I want one for me, too.
Yeah, okay. This one's for me, this one's for my brother, this one's for my dead father, this one's for Pat Constantino. I'll give you a Xerox copy,
You
Pat.
know what? You know what? He's gonna say, "Oh, Pat Constantino, why didn't you say so?"
She's still breaking things?
No, it's not going to go there.
You make him a
Okay.
nice set of wooden turned golf clubs, and you'll get your signature.
Yeah, that's a little dangerous, isn't it, Pat? Yeah.
Lately. Okay, Norm, do you have anything for us? No. All right, Joe, do you have anything for us?
I wondered what the outcome of our last water quality check at Simmons Court was, and I wanted to find out exactly when we were having that. There was supposed to be a dinner at the senior center.
April 18th at Lockmere.
April 1. It seemed like somebody, Cindy was saying something about a fundraiser at the senior center. And I was just wondering, she asked me, she even signed me up to cook. And I was like, yeah, that's great, but...
Oh, yes, she is going to run a fundraiser at the senior center, but we don't have a date for that. And that will be at the senior center.
I will keep in touch with you while I'm down
Okay.
in Georgia. And it'll only be 3
I
weeks.
think it's going to be
or so.
sometime in May or
Yeah.
June.
Oh, well, that'll be...
Yeah.
Today was May 9th for the open house.
The grand opening is May 9th.
Grand opening was in
May 9th.
7th, 9th, yeah.
May 9th?
Yeah.
Oh, you have a date?
At 1. That's if we can get the governor up. We have to,
The governor?
or Ray Burton, one or the other.
I'll bet you Mr. Burton would go to something like that.
Ray will be here.
If you give him enough notice, he will go.
Yep.
He's a great guy.
I think it's important. Okay, so, Catherine?
Simmons Court, the gentleman I was talking to in the water department, I emailed him, let him know that I'd gotten the results. He looked at them and emailed me back and said there was no danger to the aquatic life or the plant life in the brook at this time. And I agreed to sample it again.
Yearly?
No, I'll do it in the spring.
And there's no snow on the ground.
Yeah,
That was
do it in the
today's-
spring when, because the theory, the theory was I did it, the ground's frozen, let's see what happens when it's
What was
not
it,
frozen and
rust?
it's rushing through. Yeah, huge. They were all surprised at the amount of rust that was in that water. And the diesel was not significant enough.
Do you have any recommendations going forward as the health officer about what, if anything, we should do about finding the source? And if not, should we?
Since there's no danger to the brook at this point, I'm saying that right now, but who knows what the count will be, say if I take it in April, when, we know what happens to the earth at that
Ground's
point.
thawed, everything's
Yeah,
running.
if it doubles, that might be a different issue. That's why the need for the other sample. But right now, with the count as it is, there's no danger to health, to humans or animals or aquatic life.
Unless they drink from that one particular pool.
No, even at that.
Even at the source.
Yeah, because iron is not considered toxic. But anyway, it would be very costly for the town to dig up that cul-de-sac.
Oh, golly, yes. Or even have it radared to find out what's in there.
But in good conscience, we need to, or I need to, continue to monitor it, take a couple more samples, and see seasonally what happens.
When I get back from the Masters, I will be getting in touch with Dennis Allen with an eye toward getting all those tires and the loose materials picked up.
Oh, rethink, excuse me. You'll be getting in touch with Joyce to get in touch with Dennis Allen.
Well, that's how I get in touch with Dennis Allen, is through
Okay.
Joyce, of course. In order to, because he had said that he was going to help put together, he would be willing to help with manpower, and at such time as we come up with some kind of a mutual date, ballpark date, I can start lining up Boy Scouts or the recycle people at the school, or God only knows what, if indeed we even want to do that. There's a potential liability of falling in a sinkhole or getting cut and slashed or whatever, but that's something we can discuss at that time.
Does the selectmen have to go through a liaison to talk to a department head?
That's the way it was set up originally.
Right. When was it ever set up?
It's right in his contract.
Like the selectmen would go through a liaison to contact one of their department heads.
Well, for work done, it's even in his job description.
That's subrogating the authority of the selectmen.
I'm quite sure that, it just makes more the problem came up with the fact that individuals that work for Dennis were being contacted to do things when, the chain of command was being broken.
When we asked Joyce to be liaison to Dennis, it was so that there would not be a barrage of requests from employees of the town to relocate and whatnot, so that there would be a funnel. But to subrogate the authority of the Board of Selectmen, no one has the authority to do that.
Well, how else are we going to know, like, say if you need help with something where Joe needs help, how do you know that she hasn't already called him and given him other things to do?
Well, I would hope that as our department head, he would let his selectmen know that. That's through communication. I mean, I'm not objecting to Joyce being liaison. I think she's a great liaison. But if I need to talk to Dennis, I need to talk to Dennis one-on-one.
Well, that doesn't mean we can't speak with
That's a
Mr.
different.
Allen.
And if I have something I need Dennis to do, I need to talk to Dennis one-on-one.
I mean, anybody can call Dennis and talk.
But if you called Dennis and said, Dennis, I need something done, the Park Commission needs something done, and I call Dennis and say, Dennis, the chat committee needs something done, and then Sandy calls and says, the planning board needs something done, it's really not fair to Dennis.
Why not?
He doesn't have the manpower. Then he has to prioritize, and who's going to get that? Us.
And Dennis needs to do that. He's our department head.
Let me ask
We're
you this
creating more
question,
problems.
Catherine. Why would we set up a policy that we are not willing to follow ourselves?
Right.
I don't know of a policy.
That is
Right,
a
so
policy.
we've talked about this before.
And yes, and when we talked about it, and we asked Joyce to be liaison, in fact, I think I'm the one that suggested that, because she has such a great relationship with Dennis. At that time, it was because employees were saying, Dennis, come move a trash can, or, move this desk 3 or 4 times, or whatnot. And that was a problem. and he needed to prioritize, but if I have an emergency, and I need to have something done, something's fallen down in the park, I'm not even going to go through the park commissioners. I'm going to call Dennis. I'm going to have a conversation with him, and he's going to say, yeah, I can get to that such and such a time or such and such a time, and I don't see a problem there. And I am not going to allow my authority to be subrogated by somebody else as a Board of Selectmen.
We also made it a policy, and we sent a policy out to the employees that if they needed Dennis to do anything else.
That's right. We're not employees.
You have no authority all by yourself anyway.
Jesus Christ.
You don't.
I guess if there's an emergency in the park, you want me to wait to convene a Board of Selectmen's meeting to say, excuse me, we have an emergency in the park that needs to get taken care of, trees falling down.
Don't be ridiculous.
Well, then you just were.
No, you don't
course you
have,
were.
you have no, you just said you're subrogating your authority, like
Board
as
of
if it was your
Selectmen's
personal
authority is what
authority.
I've been saying, the Board of Selectmen's
You
authority.
said my authority.
Well, I'm sorry, in this conversation, once I slipped and said mine. I am corrected, the Board of Selectmen's authority. And if I need something I need to discuss with Dennis, I'll tell you right now, I will be calling Dennis directly, because I need to have information firsthand. And if there's an emergency,
Getting information.
and if there's an emergency that something needs to be done, like I've seen trees down, I'm going to call up Dennis and say, geez, Dennis, I just went by a tree down on Silver Lake Road, which happened a couple of years ago. Okay, I'll take care of it. Thanks, Dennis. Shoo.
Okay,
I just wanted to, just to clarify what the practice has been. I mean, I talk to Dennis at least once a day, so he tells me I know where he is and what he's doing. And then anything, it's my understanding, the written policy that we have in our Selectmen's Policy Handbook is for anything within the town hall, so he doesn't get calls from anybody within the town hall.
Right.
If it's a committee or a department, I think it was just the Parks Commission before, the former Parks Commission, because he was being bombarded with calls from individual parks.
That's right.
And I think it was at that time it was said, it was told to them,
That's right.
call Joyce. Okay, that isn't the situation anymore. So anytime of chat or planning board, whatever, it's my understanding you go directly to Dennis. But if you want, I'll be more than I do talk. He tells me what's going on. I mean, a couple things have fallen through the cracks. Like I knew nothing about the day that the tree was being planted.
What day? Oh,
The
the tree got
Virgin Trail. I didn't know anything about that. But that was Dennis's for not telling me.
I didn't think Dennis was around yet.
Dennis wasn't really involved in it.
He
It
was
was
on
the
vacation.
agricultural students at the high school that planted the tree, that dug the hole.
Right, but there was supposed to be a backhoe there.
well, now that you've
There was no
clarified that.
backhoe there.
So I have no problem.
Well, now that you have clarified that, we have a safe and an old furnace on our porch at Chat that we need to get rid of. I have no idea how to get rid of it, but I'm sure that we could,
On the front porch?
we moved it so we could have the floors refinished.
That's scrap.
We could use the money for scrap. Chat could use the money for scrap, but we can't have no way to get it down there.
Well, I can take that down there.
A safe,
Oh, the safe, you got the safe? I thought you said an old furnace.
an old furnace
You got
and
the
a safe.
The-
On-
you
it's on
got
the
the
porch.
safe?
I thought she said a
Nice.
safe old furnace.
Yeah, I didn't hear the safe. Nice job.
Somebody that can take it away.
There's
A safe and an old furnace.
They'll have hoists. There's people that'll take that away, trust me.
Yeah, but for
Yeah,
money.
but they don't,
Yeah.
they will,
See, I don't want to pay money. We want the money for scrap.
Oh, no, they'll take
there'll be
it free,
people that
but
will take it away
they
at
won't
no
give you the
cost,
money
but
for
you
it.
won't get any money.
Yeah. I know a guy that'll just haul it away, but you won't realize any money from it.
If they can ramp it into my truck.
Can your truck hold that?
That's a pretty heavy safe. Of course, you got a pretty heavy truck.
Could
How
you
you gonna get it in
tractor
there?
pick it up?
I was thinking of my half ton, my heavy-duty half. I could also bring a one-ton rack body.
Could your tractor pick it up? Because you could probably, if you can get it in.
And I don't know if,
You gotta get it out
my
to,
2120 probably, because I don't have weights in the back, would not be able to
We
pick
see
it up.
Catherine going down the street.
You want weights
get
in
into
the
the
back,
bucket and then
Catherine?
she's stuck.
We could get Dick Mayer to weld that to the back of your tractor, then you can wait.
Papa Wheelie! But, no, let me work on that.
Okay, that'd be
I have a
great.
question. You'd made, and I don't mean to stir up a hornet's
Awesome, got
nest,
that up there.
but you made mention of the CHAD committee or the senior center realizing money from scrapping town property. Now, how would that work out? We can dedicate it certainly to a certain cause, I would imagine, but wouldn't necessarily go specifically to a specific place, would it?
Well, you allowed us to take out some of the artifacts there that went to the chat, so why wouldn't you allow us to get scrap money from an old furnace?
I didn't say we wouldn't. I just
Okay.
said that there has to be a mechanism for that, I'm thinking. I don't know that for a fact. I am still the new guy, at least until we get another new
I
guy.
think he raises a...
I really don't know, so
The
I...
money would actually go into the general fund, and the Board of Selectmen could move it into the line item for chat. I mean, it could, it's,
Yeah, we could move it to the recycle committee.
you have to remember, chat's not a private nonprofit, it is town.
I know.
Just like planning board, just like park commission.
Yeah, but if you sell a piece of governmental property, town property, it goes into the town's general fund. I don't...
An old furnace?
No, and I agree with you, Pat. I'd like to see you get the money for it.
I just
mean,
wondered.
have no
I didn't mean to
problem with
break open the hornet's
Like I
nest, I
said.
told you.
Let's
I just
move
said
on
that,
at
it goes into the
7:30.
general fund,
if
and we can move it into
If we sell
theirs.
an old cruiser in the state auction, the money goes into the general fund. It doesn't
And then
go
we can
back
move
to
that
the
line
police.
into,
Wherever we want,
Police
or need to.
Oh, wait a minute now. Does it go back into the general fund?
yep,
Just like the yard tractor that Dennis sold.
yep.
Didn't go to Public Works, it went to the general fund.
And
Now,
then we move
does
it
it
where we
mean
wish.
that the selectmen can't take that money and transfer that amount of money into...
We just want it off the porch.
Well, I can give you that phone number.
Before May,
Yeah, yeah.
I would prefer it before next week. It would be nice. I mean, we want to move some things in there. We can't. It's on the porch.
how did you even get it on the porch?
Tom arranged to have it up with his guys, but, you know, I mean, he pays his guys to do that.
Yeah.
He can't afford to pay anymore to do his guys for anything.
I know someone I can call who would have phone numbers of people that go around and do stuff like that.
But they do it free, and there'd be no remuneration back to the town.
That's correct.
You want money for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be ideal.
The safe, it's, you know, that's a lot of metal.
Right.
Any brass in it?
Yes. Not much, but there is.
Let me work on that.
The dial is all brass.
Let me work on that.
Okay. Catherine's going to work on it.
Or we need some pictures. I could
Oh, I got pictures.
pictures of the two things.
I gotta go look at that tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, please do.
It's a big safe.
And
I wondered what,
and I
it's
got
not as
the-
big as down in Cindy's office, but it's pretty big. I couldn't move
It's a
it.
big safe.
I tried to move it.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful inside of that. It is pristine inside with
It's
little
still a good
drawers
safe.
and everything. It's
You
beautiful
have
safe.
You have the combination.
We have the combination and everything. We just don't want it in the Grange, the senior center. Okay. We can't, we don't have a front yard to plant flowers in.
That's true. It's all parking.
And I think the chiropractor office would have an issue if we planted flowers with a furnace coming out.
I can only imagine.
All right, moving right along. We have non-public minutes that we'd like to
I've done those.
read those quickly.
I just initialed the top of those.
March 12th, by the way, is the auction. Ken Barrett, March 12th. Did you have something?
Which
while you were
auction is
opening
that? Auction for what?
For the things that we got.
Ah,
And we've also added, a lot of people have come and added their own things that have, like I have an antique ice box that I'm
so it's going to be
donating.
an auction as opposed to like a yard sale situation?
Auction, collectible auctions.
Who's doing the auctioneering?
Ken Barrett.
Oh, nice, which he just said, duh.
That's where you heard it.
Jesus.
It's in with a lot of other items.
I should have cleaned out my garage.
Well, we still have time. Want me to send them up?
At what
I'd be
time?
embarrassed.
What time?
I believe it's at 7, but I...
It's in the Echo that's down, it's in tonight's Echo, today's Echo.
I have an original ice box that I put in there. Used to be my bar.
I have one in my kitchen.
That you probably still use.
Still use it.
Love it.
It's got all the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Hook my hose to the drain.
Okay. Okay, why, they're reading the non-public. You have an update on Old Home Day?
Jesse contacted Attorney Howard.
Must be LGC.
I know.
Yeah, must be LGC.
That probably does affect 4th of July weekend.
Yeah,
So we may make it the 23rd instead, so don't, I'm, yeah.
okay.
Until we find out if we're going to amend and
A lot of people make plans on the 4th, you might end up with not enough people. Well, the other thing is, for this year, just remember, maybe next year you can go back to it, depending on the school's going. Right, yeah. So,
I make a motion that we bring January 6th minutes of the meeting to the floor. Discussion and approval.
second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Very simple. Here it is. Yep.
Oh, I just ran over it.
I
make a motion that we
accept.
approve the minutes.
Is that the one we met and
Second.
we
Yep.
we left? Oh, there it is.
Right, second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do January 12th while we're here?
How about March 6th? Get the two short ones and then we'll go together.
Where's,
I make a motion, we bring the minutes, emergency meeting of March 6th, 2012, to the floor for discussion.
Second.
I have it. Wait a minute. I gotta look. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, I know
I
this
already
one.
read them.
Oh, I read, yep.
And I
Okay.
make a motion, we approve the minutes of March 6th, 2012, as written.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, now, I make a motion, we bring the minutes of January 12th, 2012, to the floor for discussion and approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Page 2, towards the bottom, where it says the incidents, and then it says UN, the state reports. Must be incidents in the state.
Yeah, that's got to be an IN. 6 lines up from the bottom.
Yep, and on page 3 at the top, it says in 2012 M. Just get rid of the M.
It should be, this site poses no present safety issue. P-O-S-E-S.
I like posses.
Oh, redistricting.
At the top of page 3, passerby should be plural. Oh, this is going to be...
Did Mr. Fields actually say he does not like the deviation, but he does not represent Samberton and Tilton? Is that an accurate statement? Under page 4, under Representative Dennis Fields, said he does not like the deviation, but he does not represent Samberton and Tilton.
It says, but he does represent Samberton and Tilton.
It does represent.
Oh, must be the drugs. Thank you. Whoa,
You're about ready to come out of the seat.
I was saying, is that an accurate statement? I knew it was something. And right below that, it said that it is too bad that towns are going to lose, L-O-S-E. Although they could loose out. They've been known to do that. This conversation was very loose.
I oftentimes do lose out, at least in the past, when I was a younger man.
I don't want to relive this. I'm skipping right over it. I don't care if it's incorrect. I can't do it.
I was just at the very first sentence here.
But
Oh, yeah, over there.
the whole thing's incorrect.
Yeah.
This whole thing about deviation and redistricting and everything else, it's sad. Really
Only a
sad.
factual representation of what the
It had
representative
nothing to do
said.
with politics. Democrat or Republican,
No,
nothing.
but they voted the party in all cases.
Sure they did. Even in the Senate.
They'll vote to have guns in school, but
Yes,
they
they
won't
did.
redistrict.
Right,
There's a whole
Jeez,
article
makes
about
sense. Yep.
or get rid of the requirement to have a permit to carry that gun concealed.
Ah, amazing.
That's doable. Redistrict.
And guess what? Our representative was on that committee. That's scary. Please don't talk about name.
Okay.
Not while I'm on drugs.
I'm sure he represented us with great diligence.
Oh, I'm sure he did. In a very Republican way.
On page 6, Pat, is this where it says Chair Constantino reported they have a donation from Montessori for the Tilton Senior Center? Is that the money we were just talking about earlier? Because it doesn't show any motion here to accept it.
Page 6 where?
Down where it says
Reported
Chair
Constantino.
Constantino.
No, we were talking about donations and what we needed and things like that. It was the week before that we had gotten at the actual donation.
Okay, because this is Chair Constantino reported they have a donation from AutoServe.
It was what? We can make a motion just for housekeeping purposes tonight to accept the motion of,
This was February 3rd that was dated.
Yeah, so that would have been after this.
Okay, so that was different money.
No, maybe not. She might have said.
No,
that
they gave
we
us a couple of
Secured
checks.
we don't have the money yet, but the
We-
AutoServe is making the donation.
right,
That's what the discussion was.
that's what the discussion was.
So they should be written a little differently then.
We should probably,
We are expecting a donation.
right,
Yeah, he made casual statements.
Yeah.
and
we
she
probably
was-
just should say we are anticipating a donation from AutoServe for the senior center, because,
So you reported that you're anticipating a donation.
but in any event, we really should make a motion to accept those two donations for housekeeping's sake, in case they're not, we haven't done that.
We can do it again, but I remember we did do it. Okay, I'll make.
I don't recall. Now, I got a question here before we start.
We'll check the minutes.
I have a question. Do we have to, and it makes perfectly good sense, but do we have to vote to accept the donation of pastries from a local bakery for town meeting?
It's goods,
We can just take those.
right.
So she's not actually, I get it. Never mind.
Because she's not,
My understanding, it's going to be a donation. It's going to be a it's
She turns the money over to,
us, then we'll accept the money, then we'll accept it,
There you
correct?
go. All right.
But it's going to be on a donation basis. Any more questions, concerns, or input on the minutes of January 12th?
I move that we accept the minutes of January 12th as corrected.
And I would second that motion.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. I do have a letter from Franklin Savings Bank that we submitted a grant with them, and we were unfortunately not,
You were denied.
denied, correct.
And that was for the
You're the only one left.
senior center?
We had put in a grant for, specifically for furniture. There's something in the FYI I wanted to share with everybody. We have a letter from a resident. It says, "Dear Board of Selectmen, I am writing as a citizen to request that the Board of Selectmen look into, and if possible, expand the width, color of paint, and visibility of crosswalks downtown. I have witnessed too many near misses of pedestrians, the worst of which was a mother with a stroller who had to run when somebody wasn't slowing down for the crosswalk when she was clearly crossing. When I was selectman, I asked that the crosswalks be painted a brighter color and broadened, which many other towns do. I am sure there's an increased cost doing so, and there may be issues with New Hampshire DOT considering the ownership of the road surfaces. However, if other towns are able to boldly announce to the drivers the crosswalks, why can't we? I do not require a reply, but I would like the board to look into it and see what would provide more safety and security to those trying to cross the streets downtown. I think making the crosswalks more prominent would also provide the police with greater enforcement capability for those who stop traffic and create their own crosswalk to and from Polly's in the mornings and on the weekends. We spend a great deal of extra money on downtown clearing snow, street sweeping. Why not make it as safe as possible for all the citizens and shoppers? Sincerely, Tim Pearson. Now, I did ask Dennis about the widening of the we cannot, because it's state
It's a
regulations.
standard width.
It's a standard width, and we cannot change the color. They wanted to change the color a couple of years ago, and they went to the DOT, and because it's a state road, all crosswalks are white.
So can we repaint in the exact same location the crosswalks we have in existence?
Yeah. He does
We
it
do that
twice
every
a
year,
Yeah, he
twice a
does.
year,
Probably.
the spring and
What
fall.
kind of paint do they use? There's almost no crosswalk left to
Yeah, well,
it.
It's due to be done.
Worn off by all the
Right,
traffic.
it's the same stuff that the state uses.
What we could do is put the crosswalk things back up again in the
Yes,
middle of the
I
road.
was just going to say, when do we put up those pedestrians and crosswalk tents?
I sent the
So that
email
they-
tonight from here, and we had a meeting with Highway Safety on Wednesday about this, to see if I'm allowed to use my Highway Safety grant money for enforcement down there, and they said Concord does, and there's a form we have to fill out, so Ryan's taking care of that for me. So,
Good.
Yay.
meeting on Wednesday.
Good.
Now, would that put that officer on foot, or would it put him in a car sitting somewhere? Because I would like to actually catch some people. You put a car there, big as life, and
Yeah, Concord's doing it with, I think he said, one speed violation report, and the other one stopped it.
Okay, we have, this is from Adele, the School Administrative Unit 59. The Winnisquam Regional School Board appoints yearly in April the positions of School District Clerk, Treasurer, and Assistant Treasurer. Those wishing to apply be residents of Northfield, Sanborn, and/or Tilton, and registered voters. Interested candidates should send a letter stating their intentions by April 6th to the chairperson, Winnisquam Regional School Board, 433 West Main Street, Tilton, New Hampshire, 03276. And this, I don't know if you get a copy of this, but this is to Lenny Burke with the restaurant.
I read it.
You read it? And this is,
Update?
it's an update that he was supposed to, it was agreed that after 1 year from the issuance of the temporary driving permit, you were going to mitigate left-turning movements into your property and close the third driveway on the northeast side of the property. The proposed mitigation for left-turn traffic into the site is the construction site of a 7+ feet wide paved shoulder. The last temporary permit was issued on August 23, 2010, so it has been over 1 year without mitigation to U.S. Route 3, New Hampshire Route 11. With the proposed opening of a new restaurant, District 3 is requiring you to complete the shoulder widening mitigation this year. Please submit a new driveway application enclosed and plans of the mitigation to District 3 office for our review. Driveway permits require that the required highway improvements shall be completed prior to the intended use of the facilities. There shall be no occupancy until the required mitigation is completed.
he must be waiting for the permits, because he has heavy equipment on the site. It's right at the end of Silver Lake Road, across from the Smoke and Barley, where Lucky Lenny's used to be.
Oh, okay.
Just one place up, it was the
where the
Thirsty
Thirsty
Crows.
That's what I thought, they're going to open another restaurant?
They're already in the
Shiloh's.
process of, what is it?
Shiloh's, that's somebody from Wolfboro. It's a
Well,
restaurant from
great, they've put
Wolfboro.
money in the building, I haven't been inside, but they've redone the facade, and I'm looking forward to it. It's a neighborhood place for me.
It's a really nice place in Wolfboro.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah. We have an annual meeting invitation, RSVP by 3/14. This is celebrating 20 years of service. This is the Belknap County Economic Development Council. It's Thursday, March 29th at 4:15.
Kind of leaves us out.
Yep.
All right. That's it?
I mean, that's it? That's it?
Nope, nope.
Oh, I was just about to jump
Oh,
in
let me
there.
tell you, it is very short.
Okay.
Short.
Oh, what, we got a non-public?
Yep.
Okay.
I make a motion to enter into non-public session as per RSA 91A:3, and this is going to be, I believe, it's H for the safety, public safety. Yep. think it's, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, we want to talk about that.
Can't
Hockey thing,
discuss matters that would jeopardize the
public safety,
public
right.
safety.
Okay. Second?
I had it all pointed out here. Anyway, it's matters of public safety.
Second.
All right. Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
We are now ready.
Sheet's ready to go.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we seal the minutes of the non-public until they have been resolved.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
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 We adjourn?
I would
Second.
love to second that one.
Yes.
All those in favor?
And in favor of that.
Oh my God, I gotta get out of this room.
And I hope you're watching this stuff because...
What?
28.3